We are back once again for the monthly updates of the media consumption thingies. And to start it off, we got the film section, which I have obviously things because I'm still a person who looks at those while also listening because most of the time they have audio with the
Most of
films,
the
yeah,
time.
as you know. Um, so I got to start us off with Susperia, the remake, which I rewatched. And
Nice.
this movie is really cool, right? It's Luca Guadagnino. We've sucked him off a few times,
Mm-hmm.
including even
Mm-hmm.
talking
Properly
about.
glazed him.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Um, and we've even talked about this film of his when you
Movie
mentioned it
before. Mm-hmm.
last year at some point. Um,
Yep.
so I saw this film somewhat early into my the movie phase of my life, and this
Mm-hmm.
this thing completely blew me away in just like so many ways. It completely changed the way that I've just never seen anything like it. It just blew me away, and it's like, oh, movies can be weird and like very intricate and stylized in such a unique way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and the second time around, the issues with it definitely are more evident, or like I noticed them more. Like the direction's really great, and the shot compositions, and when it uses like even basic things like zooms and whatever. But the biggest issue is the plot of it. There's just some stuff that makes no sense, and not in like a cool, oh, I can interpret because things are sort of vague. No, it's just like, what the fuck is even happening sometimes, man? Like in this movie, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I feel like it's somewhat in line with the original, which, is a classic
It's the same
Italian giallo
premise.
film. But both films have their own weird shortcomings, to say the least, where it's just like
Yeah.
weird and disconnected and hard to follow at some points. Um, but that's not to say it doesn't lead to a good film.
No, yeah, for sure. And I think it does also. It's a good example of a film remake, I'd say, where it. I do like it more than the original. That's not. I don't think how everybody necessarily feels. I mean, the average rating on Letterboxd it's slightly higher for the original.
Hmm.
Um, but it like even though I like it more, I don't think it completely replaces the original. Like they both stand on their own as good films, and again
Hmm.
being like the same sort of overall story but doing different things with them.
Yeah, yeah. I would agree. I think I ended up liking the remake a little bit more. There's the thing with uh, horror coming out of Italy during that time period where that style and like that sort of like campy, very saturated filmmaking is I'm not as accustomed to it, so it just comes off a little stranger to me. There's still a lot to appreciate there, but the
No,
remake
yeah,
by
the
Luca,
original is like more campy sort of.
yeah, absolutely. Um, and this one felt like a little more gritty, a little more realistic, and all of those like uh, pagan and occult
Yeah,
um,
this one
references are
it's
done up even
so
more here.
stressful for like the whole time. It's like 2.5 hours, and it like
Yeah.
the whole time it's just stressful, and it's like it can be tough to watch. I feel like for some people, um,
Hmm.
definitely. There's like some body contortion stuff that could be
Hmm.
difficult to watch for some people, and it is disturbing overall, but it's really well made and it's interesting. And I want to call it
Yeah.
fun, but that's a bit of
It's
an understatement.
yeah, yeah. Fun in some ways for sure.
Do you have films?
I have no films to talk about.
You don't? I see something from 1 month ago. I
I
see
do.
two
I
things.
ended up watching a film, but I
Ooh.
do want to save that discussion for when I check out another film at some point when I
Ah,
eventually get access to it
okay.
by the same directors.
Okay.
And so
But then
I
I
would,
see that you rated something that you didn't rewatch.
yeah, yeah,
You were
yeah.
just like in your head from
Nothing
your past
else.
memories. Okay, I got you. I got you. I got you. All right. Well, I could take it from here with the rest of my things.
Yeah, yeah.
The
Catch
next
us up on
one,
good movies.
yeah. Oh, the next one I saw that I'm gonna bring up is a really good one. Also, it's called The Fisher King, and it's by Terry Gilliam, who's a director who has made a good few bangers and then a good few like mid stuff. He was a
Mm-hmm.
Monty Python dude, so he sort of does a lot of comedy. His films are very unique. He loves like sort of weird, wacky aesthetics when it comes to sci-fi or fantasy and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he just loves creating like really weird, wacky worlds and stuff. And this one of his, The Fisher King, it does take place in like whatever New York City or LA or something. Um, but even then, it like intricately inside some of the locales, it has what I would call Terry Gilliam isms
Mm-hmm.
things of just like weird, intricate machinery and stuff like that. Anyways, this one's very fun and unique. It's about this dude who's like this radio show host who leads one of his followers to kill a group of people, and then he like there's like a time skip, and he's sort of like washed up, and he meets this homeless dude who's trying to find the Holy Grail because he's sort of like crazy and stuff, and so
Mm-hmm.
super down on his luck, he ends up trying to sort of reluctantly help this homeless guy on their quest. And at least that's like the premise of it, but like almost what most of the movie, not the entire thing, but what a good chunk of the film is made up of is the main dude trying to help this homeless guy hook up with like this girl that he stalks. It's like the whole thing is really funny and really out there, and somehow like very emotional, and the characters are portrayed in such an honest and special way. Like
Mm-hmm.
this film is really cool. It balances comedy and emotions very well, and it's uh, one of his like. It's weird because there's such like a big gap between like his top five movies versus bottom five movies. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
like this is somewhere near the
Yeah.
middle, but it's still like very good as a film. It's just that
Right.
like
Yeah.
again, there's a jump between like 8 out of 10, 5 out of 10. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For like some
He
of
has
his
a
stuff.
bunch of super well-known films that I've been meaning to watch. Um, I've only watched two of his, and but that kind of weird, it's like kind of sci-fi style that he loves to engage
Hmm.
with, or like that the abstracted and like psychedelic uh, avenues of his filmmaking are very interesting. Um, so this one has been on my watch list,
Yeah.
and I
He
should do the due
also
diligence.
he also likes Don Quixote. Because
Mm,
he has this one film called the Man Who Killed Don Quixote, which is this
hmm.
weird like modern day
Oh
like sort of
yeah.
retelling, sort of meta version of like this film director directing either just a commercial or like a program of some sort that has Don Quixote, and he casts like this random dude to be Don Quixote,
Hmm.
and then the dude starts thinking he's Don Quixote in the modern day, and he like sort of fucks up his head, and they end up recreating like some of the book scenes in like a more modern
A
setting.
weird meta way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like interesting, but it's not exactly a good film. And as a big fan of the book,
Hmm.
it it doesn't quite live up to the name of it. And the Fisher King, like it's a similar premise where the homeless dude is essentially Don Quixote, where he's
Hmm.
like this crazy just lunatic of a man who's very smart in some ways. He's very well
Hmm.
spoken in the same way that Don Quixote is, and then Don Quixote has this sidekick Sancho who's sort of normal but goes along with the antics and sort of makes fun of him behind his back also, but also like by just being associated with Don Quixote, he also makes a fool of himself through various methods. And that's
Hmm.
also sort of how the Jeff Bridges character is in this as well, as being like a sidekick and also get into like stupid situations by just being along with him. This film is almost a better adaptation of Don Quixote than the one with the character's name in its title from the same
Hmm.
person. Um, so yeah, I love this movie, and I'll probably rewatch it at some point
Sounds
because
very
it's
cool.
fun. All right, my next one is this is a weird one. It's called Simone, but it's got a 1 for the I and a 0 for the O. But for some reason, it does not have a 3 for the E. I don't know why
You're
they're like
going
they
full
like
lead speak.
well,
Yeah,
they
yeah.
went halfway on the lead speak, but then
Yeah,
they
yeah.
just gave up. And also the S could have been a 5.
True.
I guess I don't know.
Or a dollar
Um,
sign, you know.
ooh, that would have gone hard. The so this film, it's about Al Pacino plays this director whose lead actress like quits midway through production because she's just a bitch and is tough to deal with. And so he's like, ah, shit, we've already filmed all this movie. What am I gonna do? And then like this dude from his past bumps into him who's dying or something, and he gives him this program that just like has this fictional woman that he could just like magically put into scenes in his movie and stuff. And uh, I mean, this thing is like almost the predecessor of where we might be going in the future in terms of like AI stuff, because
Mm.
uh, throughout the film, he's like this Simone person. She's not a real person. She doesn't exist. She's just like in a computer. She's essentially a program that just looks like a person. So she never like does anything in real life, but he still has her do like interviews and talks to random people to like pretend that she exists for the promotion of the films that she's in.
Mm.
And like, I mean, the whole thing is really weird. Like Al Pacino, sometimes he could just direct her to do and say random shit when he's off doing someone else, but then sometimes he has to be the one directly like talking into a microphone or like typing on his keyboard, and then she'll like say the stuff. So in a way, he's like the first VTuber or someone like that, where it's like, I mean, in the modern day, where they an equivalent year, there's sort of developing technology to like map an entire face through AI to just like in front of your camera. Like I saw some video of some random dude who had like Leonardo DiCaprio from specifically Wolf of Wall Street, just like the
Mm-hmm.
exact same like uh, room setup, and like it would follow all of like the facial and arm movements and stuff like that. It was really kind of freaky, honestly. Um, and that's what this film is sort of doing a little bit. It's from 2002, so it's uh, like I guess in a way ahead of its time, but that's maybe giving it too much credit because again, it's like weird and it's not a great film. The story is like so stupid because by the end of it, it's just he has like this ex-wife that he works with, and they have a daughter that he's trying to balance the relationship of with them, and they both figure out eventually, and they're like, "Oh, you're that woman. That's cool. We'll help you or whatever." And it's like, why? Like it doesn't make sense. It's just this film is weird, but it's unique and interesting, and it's almost more interesting now than I feel like when it released. Just
Yeah.
because of the state of like how technology has advanced to like almost sort of support what this movie is portraying as like a fucking
Mm-hmm.
myth, but like
Yeah.
it's sort
It
of
was like sci-fi in 2002, and
yeah,
then
but now it's
now it's
reality. We
coming.
don't have flying cars, but we have you get any grown ass man can become the hottest lady through
Hell
the
yeah.
screen.
But you
Oh
can't be
man.
Al Pacino, so
Oh yeah,
I guess
like
you're missing
yeah.
out on all.
No, I know you're exchanging a 10 for like what? You're not gonna get an 11. You know
Mm,
what I mean?
exactly. Mm-hmm.
All right. Anyways, so that's that one. I then also saw a more recent film that came out, that being Train Dreams. Um, and this was what on Netflix. Um, and it's decent. It gets compared to what's his face? Excuse me.
Terrence Malick.
Terrence Malick, thank you. It gets compared to Terrence Malick for good reason. There is pretentious narration going over this film. There's some steady cam shots. There's a lot of beautiful cinematography in this movie, sort of like his stuff. There's also a lot of those like Terrence Malick. He loves those steady cam shots, especially like low from the ground, sort of looking up at
Mm-hmm.
the characters just walking around and shit. There's some of that in this movie. Yeah, it 100% took inspiration from his stuff. The thing about like the pretentious narration in Terrence Malick films is that it's like, what is my life? Where am I going? And this, it's like it's the type of expositional narration where it's like this dude worked on the train, he had Chinese friends, and now he's watching his Chinese friends get taken away by random people. But it's like I could just fucking see that. Like it doesn't need to be
Yeah.
narrated, all of it. Not all of the narration was unnecessary, but there is a lot of the film that is narrated, and I feel like a lot of it wasn't the most necessary. And again, it does remind me of Terrence Malick films, and he has a good couple of bangers, and he has some where it's like, okay, you're doing the thing that you
Mm.
do, and you're doing it
Hmm.
well, but you're not really saying anything different with it. This feels like sort of one of those for me, at the very least. Obviously, a lot of other people uh, love it a whole lot, and it's a good film. And I think, especially if you've never seen a Terrence Malick movie, this film will wow you because it'll just feel so different from every other film in existence.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's got a slightly different aspect ratio. I think it's fucking 5:3 instead of the 16:9 or
Hmm.
something. It's whatever the
Very
dimensions.
artsy.
Yeah, I don't know. So it's going for those film bro like points by
Hmm.
swapping the aspect ratio. It's very good looking, and it did not stick with me, but I think for a good chunk of audience members, if they were to see that, they would be like, wow, this is really cool. So
Yeah, I had heard good things about this one.
hmm
I ended up on a decent amount of my film YouTubers,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
year-end lists or stuff like that. It was a well talked about film. Um, but yeah, it'll be interesting going in that because I'll watch it eventually with that kind of expectation of a Terrence Malick film. Because
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a big fan of that guy,
Hey,
and
we love him in this
there's
house.
definitely you don't really see his style emulated that often, or
Yeah.
at least done successfully at all.
hmm
So the fact that maybe this is, I don't know, uh,
A
a new
successor of
direction or at
sorts.
least a successor, yeah, yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
hmm Yeah, for sure. And then another recent film I saw was this one from Park Chan Wook. It's not his most recent one though. It's one from 2000. So,
Oh.
because I was sort of coping with the fact that I couldn't see his most recent one, I'm like, I want to see a thing by him,
Hmm.
and it's called Joint Security Area. It's about this sort of military outpost that sits on the border between North and South Korea. Um, and there's a situation that happens between some of the guards posted at the border on either side of it, and it's a really good movie. It starts off as like a sort of mystery, as there's sort of a detective lady person coming in to figure out what happened, and then it jumps to the past, and it goes sort of to show off, hey, here's sort of what maybe happened, and then it's going back to the present, and it's being like, but this thing couldn't have happened if this thing happened, and then it's going back to the past again. It's got a really good structure and flow to it. It feels really precise and very well planned out. And the execution of the story is just so solid. You get some great uh, Park Chan Wook transitions with this one. Some of the acting is a bit shoddy, specifically with the English speaking characters, of which there's a very few of them, and they make up sort of the beginning of the film because it's like this Swiss uh, outpost. For some reason, they're like the neutral United Nations or whatever
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
Um, so you get them doing some like super heavy accents that I feel like their acting wasn't quite as good. Um, but I do think because the other tough thing with foreign films is it can be difficult to decipher whether the acting is even good or bad. Like if they're just speaking in a different uh, language entirely, like that could be tricky to suss out. But I think overall, it's from what I noticed visually of what was going on with their faces, and specifically the dude who's in a bunch of major Korean films, Song Hang Ho. I butchered that probably, but whatever.
Something
Like him
horrible.
alone, and that like just stuff as simple as his facial and uh, his facial animations, his facial fucking patterns, whatever,
Hmm.
and movements and stuff. It did feel a step above the
Expressions.
yeah, thank you, above the English speakers. And again, they only make up
Hmm.
so much of the film, but they do take up the first portion. So at first you're gonna be like, what the fuck is even happening? Because also the what I was watching it on only had English subtitles for the Korean speakers, but I really needed it for when they were speaking English because their accents were so heavy I could barely tell what they were saying. I'm like, what? Um, but anyways, this film is really cool, and it's sort of gets tucked away in his filmography. It's not as big as some of his other movies, um, but it's just as good, if not even better than some of them. So it is a very good film that I would recommend people witness.
Hell yeah. I mean, I do need to do my due diligence and go through more of his films. I mean, I loved every single one that I've watched so far.
Mm-hmm.
It is always like I don't want to get into the filmography and be disappointed by one, but it's too high to hold
Bro, grow up.
as
Accept
a
that
standard
people
for
can make
anyone.
bad
Yeah,
things and good
exactly.
things, except for this dude because he don't miss.
He don't miss.
I think we talked about that last time. I'm looking because again, even his
Yeah,
lesser stuff was still good. Like Stoker
right.
is still a good
Yeah.
movie.
He understands. He's got
Oh yeah.
just like you were talking about his sense of structure, of pacing, and the overall uh, flow of the film.
Hmm.
It's like it's unmatched. There's
Yeah, it's so
something
solid in
there
this
that
one
is
even.
just like it's so engaging. There's always tension
New
and
developments happening.
resolution in equal parts. It's just incredibly satisfying
Hmm.
filmmaking.
It's a work of art.
Hmm.
All right.
True artiste.
Yes, sir. That is the last film I have to mention, though. So we can get on to the TV shows. Which I mean, do you have any of those, Peter?
I
Have you
have
seen any of
one to
those?
talk about.
Oh
I
shit!
do. This time I
What did
do.
you look at?
A certain anime that has the second season airing.
Oh,
You may have taken part of watching that, and that would
oh,
be JJK.
oh.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Okay.
Are you
Not
watching
not
that
yet.
weekly?
I thought you were
Not
gonna say
yet.
Free Run because
Okay.
that's what I started watching, and I wasn't gonna
No,
talk
but
about it
I've
till
heard good
next
things
time.
about it.
How is
But
JJK right now? How many episodes are
it's
out?
good. Have you watched the first two
Yeah, I have
seasons, I
not
assume?
read it, but I have watched
Okay.
it, and I have not
Yeah.
seen how many films are there? Are
Okay.
there just two or one? I haven't seen any of them.
There's one prequel film, and then I think they just released a film
Okay.
that is essentially like a half recap,
Oh,
half setup for like some episodes of the new season, um, with like better animation stuff like
oh,
that.
okay.
So
I haven't
it
seen any
might
of
be
those.
worth it.
That yeah, I'll
Um,
probably check that out and before the both of those before
yeah,
season two.
as a recap, because
Yeah,
the first two seasons are great. There's a reason why JJK
it's
kind
a
of
very
burst onto the
good.
scene
It's a
as
very good show.
like one of the first and foremost shonen to come out in the past decade.
Yeah.
And man, this new season, they are killing it with the animation. This is already like as someone who's read all of the manga, this is one of my favorite arcs. We've already gotten great adaptations of like some of my favorite arcs in the entire manga, and the episodes are just so incredibly animated, and it's not in like I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it feels like they're just playing it looser with the style, and it's leading to some really interesting and eye-catching animation that is not super standard for what I would think of when I'm thinking of anime coming out of Japan and the East. But it's a little more loose, a little more avant-garde. There's a lot of, obviously, you have your scenes where you spend all the money with your action and your incredible amount of frames per second.
Hmm.
And then you also have your like, oh yeah, dialogue, and it's usually shot, reverse shot of whatever, and with, you know, characters talking in like PowerPoint slides, whatever. You know it from like terrible shows like
Sure.
One Punch Man or whatever.
Yeah.
But the
Great
way
manga,
they're
bad
doing it,
show.
Yeah, you need a balance of great animation and, lower budget friendly that you
Sure.
can use to pad out the runtime and help to get exposition out. But JJK's, they're doing it in a way that even the exposition and the down moments, like they're still taking tasteful and unique elements to animating. They've used rotoscoping and other stuff that I think I just don't see it done, especially not on such a
A
massive
TV
stage
show.
as the biggest shonen to come out. You like JJK is it's up there with Demon Slayer, I think, to be like these shows right
I
now
like
for
Jujutsu
a
Kaisen more.
wide. Oh, absolutely, 1,000%.
But in terms of
But in
Demon
terms
Slayer
of
has
that
made
kind
more
of
money.
wide,
I think.
yeah, and it's like the worldwide appeal. These
Right.
are uh, animes that are
Jujutsu
not
Kaisen is
just
definitely
being,
more popular outside of Japan, and meanwhile inside Japan, Demon Slayer is just sort of like the supreme number
yeah,
one
yeah,
biggest thing
yeah,
ever.
incredibly marketable.
Yeah.
But still, JJK, the season's not done yet. We're still
Right.
watching it, but it's definitely worth checking out.
No, yeah.
Good
The
shit.
because even the first two episodes, or excuse me, the first two seasons, like I love
Hmm.
those, and it's
Also,
it's
yeah,
it's one of the
yep,
best shonen battle thingies to
yeah, battle
have
mangas. It's
just like
just
existed.
really cool.
It's very very well paced, and the fights are so solid, and it gets you immediately somehow invested in each of the characters in the fights, sort of as they're
Hmm.
happening. Like like in terms of its structure, it's very well made, and it's
Yeah,
very
the power
effective in what
system's
it's
pretty
trying to do.
cool.
Yeah,
It's often compared with Hunter x Hunter, which I think is like the greatest power system in any manga or anime. I don't think it reaches that lofty of heights, but it is still fun, and
yeah.
all of the different uh, various levels to the power system are fun to explore, and like you get your checks and balances throughout the various numbers of fights or um, unique powers that can be acquired through weapons or various other heavenly restrictions. There's some incredible moments that are going to come this season,
Hmm.
and I'm very much looking forward to the rest of it.
Yeah, nice. I will check it out. Probably this season as it's airing in the later weeks to come. Um,
Hell yeah.
I was also watching Free Run. I'll save talking about that until maybe next
Hmm.
time when there's more episodes out. Um, but I do have a show to talk about, which is not an anime, if you could believe it. I was craving
Oh, okay.
looking at real people for some reason. So I ended up watching Mad Men, uh, which is
Mm-hmm.
a show that came out in it started in 2007, ended in 2015. So it had a long run there, um, and overall, I really like it, and I think it is good. Um, is it the greatest, coolest, most epic, perfect thing ever? No. The weird thing is about long running TV shows is not too many like there's not too many of them that are that great. You know what I mean? Like because it's difficult
Yeah,
because
for how long it goes.
it's
Yeah.
so many people who has to be involved with it consistently over such a long
Hmm.
period of time. So it's just there's so many opportunities for things to just fall apart during any any part of it. Um, and a lot of shows before they're even able to take off end up getting uh, cut off and only air the worst parts of it before it could potentially
Hmm.
brew into something a bit stronger, which is definitely what happened with this show. Because season one, it's slow for sure. It begins being fairly episodic. I guess I should say what it is. It's like a period, not really a period. I mean, how far away do
Yeah,
things
I
have
mean
to be
it's
in
a
the past
period
to be
piece.
considered
I
period?
guess
Like
that's true.
50
I think
years or
the
something? Because in that case, it
yeah,
is. It's from
It's
the 60s is when it takes place.
right post-war,
Yeah.
booming
Oh yeah.
advertisement
Yeah. So
business.
it's advertising. It's a bunch of very cocky, pretentious dudes who went to like really
Hmm.
good, stupid schools and stuff like that. Just being sort of dicks to themselves and other people in an office setting. It's an office drama.
Hmm.
Um, and the season one, it feels aimless. You know what I mean? It's episodic. It's setting up characters and sort of situations and stuff, but it's for as many things as it's setting up, it's dropping just as many. Um,
Hmm.
and so really, by the time you get to season two, there's more. There's a wider emphasis on flowing narratives and plot points from one episode to another. Like even as you get into the future, though, there's still things that get brought up and then just not followed up upon. Eventually, like again, it's not a perfect string of uh, you know television.
Hmm.
But it's because it's weird because it is one of the better ones for sure. It like can I call it top 10? Like I don't know maybe, but that
Hmm.
would just be because the standard of it is just not as defined or like as there as compared to films
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Um, or even anime because a lot of those are based upon their adaptations of books that exist and so that like the story already sort of exists. And in this, they're making up as they go along, and they do a good job with it uh, overall. And it has a good mix of funny and dramatic moments with it throughout its runtime. It's just not like the greatest, coolest thing ever, and it's going to be a little bit more subtle than I don't know other shows that try to be dramatic and stuff like
Hmm.
that. Like it's probably not for everybody in the modern day, and it's very easy for your people to watch this. I feel like and just be like, these guys are total assholes. I don't understand the appeal of the show at all. That's the point is that they're dicks and they're sort of going through like getting away with it versus getting punished for their dickishness and stuff like that. And
Hmm.
it's a good show overall, though I have to say. And it's however many 7 seasons, 5 seasons. I watched all of them though in the past month, 7. So it's a
Holy.
good amount of time to
Hmm.
look at a thing. And I would recommend it overall. It's just again, it's in this weird spot where it's very good, but is it the greatest thing of all time? I guess.
There are obvious cracks, but there are obvious cracks to a lot of the greatest shows
No, yeah, that
on
too.
Earth.
That too.
So
Like I love Game of
yeah,
Thrones, but I fucking hate the 7th and 8th season.
yeah. You
Ugh.
got I guess your like holy trinity of Breaking Bad, Sopranos, and The Wire as like
Right.
those are
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
usually
yeah, yeah.
people's
Which I haven't seen
top
The Wire, but those other
shows.
two are definitely better than this. Because
Hmm.
again, there's only so many
So
of them. Like there's only
right,
those ones you mentioned, and then maybe Game of Thrones. I guess is also going to be up there.
yeah,
And then what is this number 5 or is this number like 10? Like you know what I mean?
yeah.
I
What else
guess.
is filling in the
No, I know
blanks? Yeah.
exactly. So it's a very good show
Hmm.
to reiterate. Um, and yeah, that's how I'd sum it up. I guess.
I remember trying to watch this
I
show
really.
back in high school, I think, so a while ago, and
You
I
probably
think I never made it past the first season.
that makes sense.
I don't even know if I finished the first season because I did get that
It's
sort
slow.
of sense where it's like, is j there
Is
has
this going to be the whole
it's all
thing?
set up. It's all set up,
Pretty much.
and like there's really not anything that I felt immediately grabbed by. But like you said, like uh,
If
everyone
you
says
stick
it's a
with
great
it, you
show.
will be
There's a reason
rewarded.
why
I would say.
went on for so long. It won so many awards.
Yeah.
It's because of the quality. So I might have to revisit that show and finish it out. But I also haven't even watched like The Sopranos yet. So need to get through that
Oh,
part of the
The
trilogy or
Sopranos is
the
so sick.
Trinity in order to get that done.
I have not seen The Wire. That's the one
Wire's
I have
great.
not seen.
Wire's excellent.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think I probably prefer The Wire to Breaking Bad. Um,
Damn. Those are big shoes.
I
But yeah,
know.
okay. That's
Good shows.
that's the TV
Hmm.
section. So now we're on to the games.
Got three things to talk about.
3. I have one, two, three, four, five, six, sort of. Let's have you talk though, because I had the whole movie section to myself
True, true,
on
true.
my
All
lonesome.
right. So, first game I want to talk about is a new roguelite, or not roguelite, Souls-like, that came out last year, called the first Berserker Khazan. And this is by, I believe, a Korean developer that makes like I think it's an MMORPG slash gotcha game
Oh,
that like is a live service thing, and they have their own universe. And this is a game that is set within that universe. Um, but I heard good things about it because I heard that it's like one of the more solid Souls likes to come out in a while, and the combat itself is super fun. So I gave it a shot, picked it up on sale because this is a game that cannot be cracked. So I had to dole out the money for that, and I am glad I did because this game kicks ass. Honestly, the gameplay itself is some of the best in a Souls like that I've played.
really?
It's very different. It's not a direct copy of uh, your Dark Souls or your FromSoft Souls likes. I've heard it more compared to Neo, although I haven't played that one yet. Um,
Okay.
but this one, the combat is built up. You have three weapons only, and those are your different builds that you can go into: spear, greatsword, and dual wielding axes. Um, of course, I went greatsword, have to. And the the flow of combat is essentially attempting to keep up a combo through your chaining together of light and heavies and abilities in order to stun lock your opponents. And so, with your general mobs, when you're crawling through the levels and world, are usually pretty easy. You'll go up against some elite enemies or other more difficult mobs, but the boss fights are definitely where this game shines. They're all pretty fucking hard, and they come online like really early. So like it's only by like the second boss that you're facing like something of like significant quality, and like you can tell when you're fighting, it's balanced very well. There's definitely elements to the balance which are I have issues with, but overall the quality throughout the boss is fantastic, and the sense of rhythm with the combat and how they set it up with that combo based system where you're trying to keep the boss in stunned for as long as possible in order to get your damage off, and then you kind of have to back off, dodge a little, and then wait for an opening. It's similar flow to other Souls likes, but with a unique kind of it's more visceral gameplay loop in this one. Unfortunately, it's definitely not as polished in other elements. The story itself is like really boring and like super predictable, just like the most boilerplate fantasy. Oh, you're playing a great general that was betrayed and sentenced to death by a corrupt
Mm.
emperor, and you have to go up
You have to
against all
defeat
of
the
the people
Demon
who
King.
betrayed you. Yeah, it's super inspired by Berserk, obviously,
Okay.
and the other Souls likes. Uh, yeah, it's just kind of a pretty bad story, honestly. Like, but it's kind of funny in like a campy way because
Okay.
of how serious they're playing it, and like, there are elements there are like cutscenes, fully voiced, fully animated, more interesting kind of slideshow elements to the art in order to get through certain cinematic moments. Um, it's all really polished, but the the actual quality there is leaves something to desire, especially from the story. There's also an interesting aspect to the gear system where essentially you're like grinding for loot in order to get good stats, like any gotcha game. So it is literally like the equipment system
It's not like
of
dailies.
Genshin, of whatever. You're going into your relic dungeons and you're like grinding for
Weird.
loot. The loot comes through different means, but the stats that they have, you have to roll for. And they're you're rolling for crit chance and you're rolling for
Sure.
fucking full
Hey, I
on
know that
damage. And
very
I'm like,
well
in
with
a
what they
fucking
play.
Souls like,
Yeah, that's
so
weird.
that
But
kind
it's
of
not like on a
pissed me off.
cooldown timer, right? It's like you can do as many of them as you want on a day, or
Yeah, exactly. There's no stamina,
sure.
but there is definitely a difficulty with being able to get everything that you want.
Right.
Unless you cheat, which I did because I didn't want to deal with that. So I just like whatever hacked in infinite resources or whatever, and just like re-rolled to get the stats that I want. Because fuck that, I don't really care about that aspect of the game.
I'm not
Without
playing
it,
those stupid
it's
ass
super
gacha
fun.
game.
It's very fun because the whole like once you get a build tuned, you essentially get different perks from mix and matching item sets or armor sets. Like you can get perks from getting two pieces of a set, three pieces all the way, and then you can kind of mix and match those perks once you get to the end game builds. And it's honestly really fun to have very different kind of play styles all within a single weapon, and then you can also kind of transition into other weapons if you want to respec and stuff like that. So uh, definitely a really fun Souls like that I'm glad I checked out. It scratches a different itch. It's not quite as immersive, and I don't think the world building or like the level design is quite as good as like a
Sure.
FromSoft game, or even I think Liza P is on that level. But in the ways that it's lacking, I think it might have. I'll probably have to replay it, but it might have some of my favorite combat in
Oh
a
damn.
Souls like. It really is that fun to play, and hope it. I don't know if this does well. Will they make another one? They have their own
The
kind of
second
money making
Berserker.
machine, I guess, with like their gotcha games. So
What's
I
the
guess we'll have to
gacha game
see.
that they made?
I don't know. Yeah, it's
Because I was trying to look because on backlog it's
yeah,
Neopol
it's hard to follow
and
exactly
Nexon.
uh what it is. I'll put I guess a editor's mark trying to find that,
You'll have to text me.
track that down. Yeah, I'll keep you updated.
Not that I care, because I don't want to play any more stupid ass gacha games, which I'll get into. I'll get into that later. Um,
Mm-hmm.
uh, anyways, I have a thing to mention. So, last time we discussed the gaming section in our previous video thingy, I had talked about how I had played Silent Hill 2, specifically the Restless Dreams Enhanced Edition, which is just a slightly better version of the original. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so I played that, I beat it, I enjoyed it. And the game I played immediately after Silent Hill 2 was Silent Hill 2, specifically the
Hell yeah.
remake.
Okay.
Um, so, the
Back
only
to back.
reason I did this was because my good friend Peter, who's on the call with me,
Mm-hmm.
ended
Mm-hmm.
up doing a similar thing where you played the remake first and then the original for some reason. Which why again did you do it in that order?
Um, I don't know.
It was a while ago.
I think I did it when the game was coming out. So
Yeah.
when Silent Hill 2, the remake came out, I heard a bunch of good press about it. So I
Hmm.
was like, all right, I gotta
I'll
check
give
this
it a
out.
shot through
It's been
this
on my
one.
list, and then I will check out the other one
Hmm.
as a little bonus. The original as a bonus.
Right. As a treat. Um,
Hmm.
and so yeah, your verdict was you enjoyed both. And did you say you preferred one over the other, or you liked them about the same
Um,
for slightly different reasons?
I like them the same for different reasons. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
So that's not how I feel
That
about it.
I can see from your rating. Yeah, yeah.
um,
Well, I'm glad we can have a
hey,
dissenting opinion for
hey,
once in the few times that it
yeah.
happens
Every
on this
couple of
show.
years, Peter and I will disagree about something. It's not even a big disagreement because, like, I still think
Oh,
overall
this
this
is
is a
one of
good
the
game.
biggest ones I think, because I would rate this
Well,
as
out
like a
of all of
nine
the
out of ten
disagreements we've
game,
ever had in the
and
history of
then
life, I guess.
yeah,
It's like Mad
uh,
Men, It's like there's only so many good ass shows. There's only so many things we
true,
disagree upon
yeah,
in a heavy
yeah,
regard. So
exactly.
this is I guess one of them. Um, so um,
Justify yourself.
so there's a lot to say
Hmm.
with this. I forgot where I was gonna start. So again, I usually don't do this, right? I usually space
Right.
out when I replay the same game or like an alternate version of it. I've really only done that once, which was Fire Emblem Awakening, 10 or 8 or however many years ago, just because I loved that game so much, and I was like, oh my god, I want to play it all over again. So I did. Very rarely. That's like probably the only time where I've ever played like a thing back to back. Um, and again, I enjoyed the original version of Silent Hill 2, or at least the Restless Dreams enhanced edition of it. Um, but not enough to the point where I would willingly uh, play it again. Um, not to
I
say that
think I
this,
see where this is going
not to
and
say
what qualms you might have with the
Silent Hill
remake.
2 remake. It's a different video game in terms of the feel of it. Um, I,
Hmm.
I, I was honestly shocked though by the sort of slow realization of the way that I felt about this. Like my takeaways are slightly similar, but to a less severe degree of how maybe like millennials who grew up with the original would feel. Where I was approaching this remake from, I've experienced the original, now I'm checking out the remake, and the whole time at every single step of the way, I'm comparing in my head the differences between them and just thinking, why did they do it this way instead? Why did they replace this with this? Why
Hmm.
did they do this differently? Um, you were right, and as was How Long to Beat was also correct in that
Mm,
this one is slightly longer. And
definitely.
really, I don't feel like it deserves that. I don't feel like
Mm,
the
mm.
additional length and time is quite justified here.
Justified. Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the length of the original version was solid. I got all of the time I wanted out of it. If I spent too much more, I would have been like, just end already, get me out of this thing. Um, and one of the main way this game elongates stuff is not by having like more story or like more scenes and stuff like that. It has just like um,
More
bigger
gameplay.
set
Yeah.
pieces, and
Hmm.
the areas are bigger, and also
Added puzzles.
it,
Added.
yeah, they
Yeah.
added puzzles that weren't there, like retweaked like various
Hmm.
things, which I'm mostly okay with those. One of the biggest things was the combat, which I feel like definitely elongated the experience
Hmm.
of the remake compared to the original. In um in the original, you could just like there was like a solid, not a solid, but there was a stronger choice between, do I fight them and take them out, or do I try to run past them?
Run past them. Yeah. Avoid
In
them.
in the remake, that like the run past them option is hardly even a thing because
It's much harder.
yeah, it's way more difficult to avoid them. And like you could
Yeah.
take, they try to emphasize stealth a little bit in the remake, that it doesn't really work. Um, but the what ends up happening most of the time is when an enemy shows up, which they're all over the fucking place in
There's a
the
lot.
remake. There's a
Yep.
lot more enemies, and so what you were saying last time about, oh, there's not too many health or ammo. That's the remake. The original gives out a lot of them,
Hmm.
but the remake is a lot more like survival emphasized
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
I don't remember using like any of them, I guess, in the original, just because like you can, like you said, just run past them. Essentially, there
Well, in the
you get to
original,
your moments where you have to. But yeah, yeah.
yeah. So they give you less resources to do more combat, and it's just like the combat's not good. It's annoying. Again, it wasn't good in the original, but like you're not improving anything really, because it's is the combat better? I guess, but there's a lot more of it, and it's still bad. So it's not really better. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? There's just so many fucking enemies in this game, Peter. Like I don't know. It feels like
No,
every
I
fucking room there's just
remember.
a jump
Yeah.
scare, and that like that's
Yep.
what there's maybe two or a couple jump scares in the original. In this game, it felt like a constant thing. Like, okay, I'm gonna
There's
go into this
way
room.
more. Yep,
There's gonna be a
yep.
mannequin or
The
a
lights are
walking
gonna
figure
flash.
or
The
whatever.
lights
Yeah,
are gonna flicker, and you're
yeah.
gonna
There's gonna be
hear
noise or
movement.
whatever. Yeah. Oh my
Yep.
god.
Flashlight's gonna turn off. Yep.
Like what I liked about the horror of the original was not the, uh, you know, it was definitely the sounds and the visuals accompanied as you wandered around, but it was not the sheer amount and frequency
Mhm.
of jump scares like the remake uh, likes to have uh, for whatever reason. Um, so yeah, just the combat. Like, not only are you fighting pretty much every single enemy, there's more enemies. You're all fighting them, and the combat takes longer. And then enemies take longer to kill, I think, in the original than what the original did. Um, they add like a dodge button to this to make it more interesting, but it's still like not good. It's just like it gets annoying eventually, or at least it did for me. Um, oh, the original, you also didn't have to aim shots, but now in this one, you do. And I was playing on controllers, so that was slightly less ideal, but not the biggest
Mhm.
pain in the world. I'm slightly out of practice from my console days of fucking Overwatch on the
Mhm.
Xbox. um, and yeah, like there's very small things and some big things that like add up eventually. Like the I liked it in the original where you could just open up the map anywhere and it would essentially pause the game and let you look around and figure out, oh, okay, from where I'm positioned at, I need to go down the hallway left and then turn right and then on the fucking
Mhm.
third door to the left or whatever, go down. Or I could like open it up past point, like partway through as I'm doing that because my short term memory is not the best. So I'll be like, wait, where was I going again after like 5 seconds? Um, and the original, it doesn't do that. It doesn't pause the game. It just like time keeps going, which like I get it, but again, like I'm sitting there asking why. I liked the idea that I could just pause and fucking think about shit while looking at the map, but now I can't. And I just like I'm wondering why that was a thing uh, that happened. Even from the very beginning, there's like weird stuff that sort of rubbed me the wrong way. Like in the original, you go at the very start, you start going down the path, and there's like a well eventually, and it has like the little red square thing that you save in, and it uh, the first time you interact with it, James, the protagonist, makes some sort of like weird observation, and then you get into like the red screen flash of saving the game, versus the original, where it's the you get brought to the screen that's red and that has James in the background behind the text, and then afterwards he makes the weird observation of like my head hurts or like something like that,
Mhm.
and I don't know, just like the way that that simple yet effective act was done in the original felt more substantial and effective, in a way that could be because I experienced it first, and it was the first time I was like, "Whoa, this what is even happening, man?" You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
but I feel like the impact and the line delivery um, at that moment at least was better. Again, it's a different sort of voice acting. The original was could almost be described as bad, but it's also
Mhm.
sort of stylized. Like it's that weird, like we talked about last time. It's that weird David Lynch. Is it good? Is
Mhm.
it bad? Is it trying to do
Is
something
it camp?
specific?
Is
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
yeah?
Is it self aware? Is it? Um, and I like that a lot, honestly. And in this, they go for something. Again, it's like not even better. It's different. But
Mhm.
there's some of the not only line deliveries, but they change what the character says to the point where they're still trying to convey the same message, but the word for word phrases of things differ. And I was comparing some of the scenes just from like the very beginning of Angela in the
Mhm.
graveyard talking with her, or the fucking fat dude when he's like about to fight you, and
Yeah.
like that moment specifically in the original is rock solid. there's really nothing needs to change about it. But as I was like watching the scenes back to back, and like I had like two instances of VLC open with my gameplay footage of like cycling through 5 seconds of one, 5 seconds of the other.
Hmm.
It was just, there were differences, and I was just questioning, why are they doing it this way now? It was good to begin with. They're changing it, but it's not for the better. It's just to, for what, to be different, or is it a more accurate translation now, since this game was Japanese originally? The whole Mary and Marie conversation where she's behind the prison cell like is so like it's perfect in the original, and in the remake it just, the her specifically switching between the voices is so, it's so solid in the original, and in the remake it like, there's like no impact to it. You know what I mean? And maybe the
Yeah,
worst,
I know that moment. Yeah.
yeah, that, yeah. um, and maybe the worst offender of it, which this was pointed out in a backlogged review that I was reading.
Hmm.
There's that elevator you go down, and it's like this crazy person is asking you questions about stuff, and it's supposed to be like
Hmm.
this wacky, almost game show host thing. Um, and like if you watch, because what I did is on the backlog review, there was like a link to a YouTube video that compared the two of them, and it's alarming, the just the impacts, and just like the versions of the original versus the remake for that one especially, where the original, it's so wacky and out there and chaotic, and like he's doing this very over the top like carnival host person voice. It's like there's these crazy cheers and like this crowd ambience thing on the speakers, and like it's just hysterical and wacky and unsettling. And then the remake version of it just feels so half-assed. You know what I mean? Like it's
Hmm.
that one especially. The difference is very clear, but you're probably only going to get that if you watch it directly back to back. Um, like especially if you're, you know, because that scene specifically is not the thing that I noticed or paid much attention to, but that YouTube comparison, like, oh my god, I just could not believe how they fucked that up. Not that it's like a big as, not that it's like a big scene or like important moment, but it's a very good example of the difference in voice acting, voice
Priorities.
direction
Hmm.
between the games there. Um, and so yeah, the original was top down. It was really the first top down game I've played. From what I experienced, it felt like the camera positions were all lined up in a very intentional and thoughtful way to reveal certain things to you. Like I remember walking just in the overworld, being lost, and like, what the fuck do I do? Do I try this door? No, that doesn't work because it's not interactable, even though it looks the exact same as the interactable doors. And I would keep
Hmm.
walking along the road, and it would eventually, like, the camera would look in such a way where it starts you off in like the right side of the screen, and the camera's sort of pointed at you. And then as you reach the midpoint of when the camera's turning, there's like a door there, and that's the one that you can enter. Um, so like it felt like there was intention behind what they revealed to you and what they let you see, and what they let you not like see at all, because again, that if you're going from one room to another, you get that, oh, certain things are blocked out from this angle, but now I could see this other thing in the distance or from like this other room, and I can map out in my head, oh, I need to go this way to get the thing or whatever. Um, and the remake, it's in pretty much every step of the way, it's trying to modernize the gameplay of the original. We already mentioned the combat; it's trying to modernize it and be more like modern games where it has a dodge button and it's got cinematic epic boss fights, like the whatever Fierce Daddy or whatever that's called. Like the boss fight is
Yeah.
way more drawn out in the remake. I don't know if it necessarily deserves that. I felt like it was fine enough in the original. Again, the combat is not the strong suit of the original. It was very short. I understand they want to they want to make it longer for some reason, and they did it. Um, so there's that, and then also like the again, it's third person perspective, and yeah, I don't know. It's if you removed the fact that it was a remake, this would be a very good game, and it would define grounds. It'd be like the coolest, greatest thing
Hmm.
ever. But since the original exists, I would just call it good overall, even though I'm complaining mostly. It's just that again, they made a lot of changes that are questionable, and
Hmm.
I think it's completely fine that they make changes. You know what I mean? Like if you're not
Yeah,
gonna
yeah,
change anything, then is it even a? It's not even a remake. It's just what a port, right? Um, which they could have done that instead. I mean, there's really nothing immensely dated about the original Silent Hill 2, I guess, except for the graphics. But I would argue that those have their own charm uh, to it as well. Um, Obviously, if a person in the modern day had to pick between the two, they're going to pick the newer, fresher looking one
hmm hmm
um, versus the original. And I understand, like I think in terms of getting the Silent Hill 2 experience, the remake would be adequate at that. But I do think the original is better, and I like it more, and it would be the one that I would be more willing to replay. Again, the remake to me is so uninviting because there's so many combat rooms where you have to fight a bunch of enemies. The whole fucking game, like that's what it felt like. I'm sorry, but it really wore me out. I have to say.
Yeah. I mean, this has been so interesting to listen to because, I mean, I came into obviously opposite of you, so I came
Sure.
into the remake as my first one,
Yeah.
and all of these things you're describing, I agree, but I feel very differently about it. You're talking about the combat and it being interesting. I think it definitely suffers from pacing problems that I discussed when I first played it. The combat does drag, especially towards the end, because there's not a ton of unique enemy variety or weapons. You're doing the same thing over and over. But
Yeah.
I think the feel of the combat is bang on. It's satisfying. It's tense. You can only take a few hits,
It
and
is
obviously
tense
you
because yeah,
have
they
plenty
they
of
deal good damage,
yeah, and
and you
they're
only
they're
have so many
bulky,
health
so
sources.
it is annoying because you're the always using resources, switching between taking hits and doing stuff. But the it kept me immersed, and that's the my whole appeal to this game. I think is just that sense of immersion. So
That
you're discussing
survivability of
about
like you could
oh
die at any moment.
not even that, just the entire everything. So the obviously graphically incredibly updated, looks
It
fantastic.
looked really
I
really good as
it
a video game. Yeah.
everything looks great, and the gore and the disgusting elements of it are way more visceral,
Yeah.
way more like unnerving, and I think you're right that the performances and the voice acting is different in such a way that it doesn't appeal to the same like unnerving, uncanny quality
Yeah.
as in the original. But there's a sense of, oh, I can actually see these actors emoting. I can actually
Sure.
relate to these feelings and become a little more immersed in the story, as opposed to that kind of uncanny quality. Which I still like that uncanny quality, as we've already discussed our love for David Lynch's stuff and that kind of weird, unnerving element to his horror. But I think Silent Hill 2, the remake, offers something different there. And also when you were discussing the like not having as an obvious path to go, especially with new areas to uncover, and like
Hmm.
the maps are way larger, and you can't even pause them. I
Can't even
think
look
that
at the
all
map
just
in peace.
yeah,
But
I think that
I
all
understand how
just
that could add
served
to like
to
the
keep
unnervedness
me
of it.
immersed.
I
Like
get what you mean.
you're able to, everything about this game is slower, and I think that serves it in a unique way where you have to slow down, you have to take it room by room, There are more enemies, so you have to take each encounter a little more seriously. You can run past them a lot in the overworld, which is,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
essentially how it worked in the original. But because there's more rooms, there's more puzzles, there's more encounters in general.
And they're more
You have to take
persistent.
things.
I
So
forgot to mention that
yeah,
they'll like follow
yeah,
you a lot
they'll
further, and
follow you.
they could go
Yeah,
between rooms because in the original they were like
right.
certain loading
You
sections,
could
so you could just go from one to another, and
exactly, and
they'll
immediately
basically
lose them.
disappear.
Yeah,
But in this one,
yeah,
they'll follow you for a lot longer.
yeah. And I think I would agree with you where honestly, the first one or the original is maybe the one I would prefer to replay just because the pacing of it is
Hey,
way tighter. It's way quicker.
yeah,
But if I'm looking for that sense of immersion, that sense of horror, and like overall, like if I'm willing to engage that amount of time with it, I would probably replay the remake overall just because I
damn.
think the quality is better. It plays better, in my opinion. I'm like, there's
Well, yeah,
something viscerally satisfying to me about crawling room to room, taking out each enemy, trying to lose as little resources as I can, like use as few bullets, and then just scrounge up whatever's in each of the cabinets. And
right.
it is, you know, maybe scratching that monkey brain, that lizard brain that my modern day gaming sensibilities have become accustomed
Triple
to,
A
where, oh, I need to loot
slop.
everything. But honestly, this game, I think it is such a, it's very easy for me to recall the levels and the designs immediately. And I played this like what last year, 2 years ago,
Hmm.
and a lot of the set pieces I think are just way more memorable. But that's the problem because this was the first one
You
I
played it
played through, and
first. Yeah,
so
yeah.
if I had played
You're
the original, and
biased.
it's like so
No, yeah.
viscerally because you were talking about the like the overall the longer the daddy sequence. I thought that served
Yeah.
it way better. I preferred it way more in the remake
Okay.
just because
It felt
it's
more
more
complete.
immersive. It feels like a longer, more
It was
drawn
more
out set
cinematic
piece.
and
It's more
modern
set, yeah,
because it's got like
exactly.
multiple phases and stuff. Versus the
Yeah,
original where you like shoot him 12 times by running
yeah,
back
and you
and
just like
forth in like
run
the
down a
tiniest room.
hallway. Yeah, like this overall, the cinematics are great in the original. But for the gameplay sequences where you're kind of in that in between a cinematic set piece, and they do the boss fights, and I think the boss fights across the board are better in the
Yeah,
remake.
they're better in the
I think
newer
that's
one
just
because they resemble boss fights in other video
new
games.
ones. Yeah, yeah. So they're definitely
Versus the original where it's like, what the fuck? Who made this?
it's like working within the constraints of the time and the hardware they had. So it's definitely
Yeah.
obviously very commendable for them, and I
It's
love
just
both
like more
games.
video games
But
have come out since then, so they're like
hmm
basing
yeah,
they're taking design models from other games when it comes to the combat
exactly.
especially.
Because I mean, the survival horror genre has been around forever, and Silent Hill 2 was obviously not the first one, but I mean, it's
Hmm.
iterated upon the Resident Evil formula and achieved greatness. And now this remake is, you know, iterating upon the various other survival horror that have been influenced by Silent Hill 2, the original. So there's definitely a ton of uh, I don't know. I don't agree with the idea that every change is, you know, derivative or purely for padding out a bloated, you know, modern day AAA game or whatever.
Hmm.
I think it's like it's done with love and obviously great attention to detail because after like playing the second one through, it's like all the bits are still there, and then there is more, and you may not ask for it, but I think it's at least done in such a way where it's uh, it's all accurate. It's all done within the bounds of the world that has already been created, and it fits within the themes and the overall world building that
Yeah.
um,
Like if
is
you
made.
played if you only played the remake and then you had to like guess which moments were
Yeah, yeah.
exclusive to the remake, like you probably would not be able to point it
Wouldn't.
out. Like, oh,
Nope.
this puzzle was not in the
Absolutely not.
original. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you would have no idea.
hmm
I definitely agree with you there that like the things that they did add or replace in terms of the world design and
hmm
like the way you go from one point to another. Like it was integrated well.
Yeah.
Um, I'd say like our main difference is not only the fact that we played one first and
And
then the other,
yeah, yeah.
but also like you already prefer action based real
Survival
time
horror
games
games. Yeah,
compared to
yeah.
myself, where
True. Also
I'm just
that,
not
yeah.
good at those really. So that plays a role into
Mm-hmm.
me now liking fighting the same enemy 50
Yeah.
times throughout the
It's
same
not the same
20-hour
appeal.
experience.
Especially because you just played the game previously and
No,
you
yeah.
had a much more concise experience with it. It is so
And I didn't
interesting.
even do that
I
much
would,
combat in the original. I
yeah.
like mostly ran past people.
Yeah, on my replay, like when I eventually played through the original after
Mhm.
the remake, I remember it just being so fast. Like I did it in a single afternoon, and I was
Damn.
like, wow, that
Speedrunner over here.
uh it feels less engaging in that way. Just because it felt harder to be immersed because I grinded it out so quick. But I think the next step of our experiment here has to be we
We
brain
duke
wipe
it out.
ourselves and then we swap. So we brain wipe all of Silent Hill 2 and then I play through the original first and
How are we gonna
then
do
the
that?
remake right after.
We have to
I don't know,
hypnotize
but we'll figure it
ourselves.
out. Yeah, we'll figure something out because that's the only way we can figure out if the true difference is just a matter of opinion or if it's actually because you played the original and not the remake. I guess we'll have to
We have to record.
figure
We
out
have to
at
write
some
down all of
point.
our thoughts right now, and then we might wipe our memories, and
Yeah,
then we
exactly.
reread what we said in the
Yeah,
past. We're like, how the fuck did I
it'll
have
be
that
like
take?
Memento. We have to get these tattooed on
Yeah.
each other, just like it, as Christopher Nolan would have done.
It's like that idea of, man, I wish I could reread or rewatch One Piece all over again for the first time.
Yeah, yeah,
We're gonna
exactly.
do that for the Silent Hill 2 games. Even
Yeah,
better.
but it's also it's for science. It's for figuring out
Hmm.
the the uh, the distinct differences between experiencing a remake versus the original, and how that impacts your engagement
Oh,
with
it
both
decides everything. It
pieces of media.
decides fucking everything, almost.
Yeah, but we need proof. We need to document this shit. So
Yeah, that
that's
would
what
be
we're
a
doing
good
next.
experiment. Because I mean, the only there would be some problems with that where like by definition, uh, you Peter right now are not the same Peter as you were a year ago or whenever when you played
Mm-hmm.
them initially. So there might be some subtle
True.
unconscious things
True.
that carry over into the new version of you. So we need to
We'll have
reset you
to.
back to
We
that
have to.
exact time in your life, and we need to set up like every person you know, and like
Yeah.
your roommates and your job, and your like. We just need to convince them to be like, forget everything that happened with him. Just pretend like you're back at this point in your life.
We're back in 2024,
What we do
2025.
here is go back.
Imagine that.
That'd go hard. That'd be crazy.
Good.
But yeah, that's what we're doing next episode. So get ready for that.
Keep an eye out for that video when it eventually drops.
Hey.
Uh,
All right.
but in the meantime, more games to talk about.
Mm.
Um, I played through I played through two games that I could talk about together because I
Okay.
played through Space Marine 1 and Space Marine 2. So,
Oh.
Warhammer 40K, it's a big universe tabletop
Yeah.
game that has spawned countless media properties, countless books, and a very avid online following. I've never really engaged with 40K before. My first game that I checked out was
Rogue
Rogue
Trader.
Trader, and that's by a game developer company that I really like, and that was my first engaging with the world, and it was a lot of fun because there's so much lore. There's so much lore, and that game specifically does a good job of kind of explaining
Easing
lore
you into it.
concepts and doling it out and making you immersed in the world as a unique figure in there. And I eventually wanted to check out other Warhammer pieces of media, games, whatever. And I had heard good things about Space Marine 2, which just came out last year. And I wanted to first check out the first one, see how that kind of set things up. I, and unfortunately, I would recommend skipping the first one if you were ever going to be interested in it. It's really not that good. It's super dated as like just a, I don't know, just like an action console shooter, uh, but like the most boiled down version of it. The story is kind of fun. You're on like a mission to save the world from evil orcs, whatever, and chaos. It's like it's serviceable. Your main character, the protagonist Titus, is a badass and it's cool to play. But like overall, the gameplay is boring as fuck. You're choosing between like five weapons and picking stuff up off the ground, getting your ammo caches, your grenade caches, and just mowing down orcs or various elements of chaos. It's pretty boring, and you can honestly, I figured this out like less than halfway through. You can just run past most of the encounters and just make it to a certain point and
Oh,
you'll
really?
get it'll just kind of fast forward. You don't have to kill everything.
Okay.
Like I was able to knock this game out very quickly once I figured this out because essentially you're just playing to get to the next cutscene.
Sure.
So really
Interesting.
you can do just look it up online, look up a YouTube video. It does the same thing. This was like one of the more mid experiences that I've had with the
Ayo.
game in a long time. Still, it didn't dissuade me from checking out the second one. And so eventually I did. And second one, leagues better. Leagues better. So much better. Uh, Overall, the presentation is way better, just like graphically, and just the combat is more engaging. Um, Essentially, there's the campaign, which happens over the course of a few different missions, I think 8 or so. And you go through like hour-long campaign missions and you do various things. It's also, pretty straightforward, linear action shooting, akin to a Gears of War or other kind of more action focused combat stuff that were coming out in like the early 2010s. Um, and it's not super engaging. The story is also, has its ups and downs, a little inconsistent.
Mhm.
But overall, I think it's just higher quality, higher production, and more engaging because of that. It's just easier to get invested in the story and the characters. Um, and then there's also a huge post-campaign, like the majority of what you're going to be playing is online content. And so you're
Oh.
playing through operations, which are kind of side grades of the campaign missions. You're doing stuff at the same time as those missions, but on like a different perspective, or like you have a different unit of units that you're kind of experiencing at a similar time and place with the campaign. So that's kind of fun. But overall, you're grinding. You have, I want to say, 6, 7, or 8 classes that you get to pick through. You grind through operations and get levels for them. You get levels for your weapons. You upgrade them. You get perks, and you get perks for your weapons as you level those up. So it's just a lot of grinding, which I wasn't really expecting.
Hmm.
And it's fun with other people. I was playing this with my brother, and I've heard online play is pretty decent. But essentially, that's all the game is after you do the campaign. Is you're just going through operations. There are also they're called fortress or sieges or something like that, where you're doing wave after wave for as long as you can. And then there's PvP stuff, and there's also like weekly kind of special modes, like your unique kind of different modifiers on your runs or stuff like that. And all of it is like it's fun. It's not something I would ever really play solo. I don't think, especially like when you're just grinding for just hours doing the same thing over and over. The balance is interesting because all of the operations and the levels, they give you the same amount of XP or rewards based on the difficulty that you play them as. So really, you can just play through the easiest operation at the hardest difficulty and just like
Mm-hmm.
try and grind it out as quick as possible. And that is like the most efficient way to get levels. But it does kind of take away the joy of the game, I think, and kind of forces you into just like a mindless drone, just like shooting countless tyrannid enemies, which
Sure.
perhaps is actually the most immersive thing you can do
That's what a space
as an
marine does. He
ultramarine, as a space
kills
marine. Yeah,
billions of dudes.
it's something about the grim dark future that leads everyone to become mindless drones and just countless
Sheep
hours
soldiers.
destroying things, just like absolutely tearing through everything that you can. Yeah, it's a cool game. It's fun. It's not one of my favorites of all time, but
Hmm.
there's definitely a kind of unique satisfaction. The feel of the game and the viscerality to the weapons and the combat and how everything feels about like you're just tearing through hordes of aliens and the actual horde physics or like the way that they have it all rendered is super impressive. They have so many units on screen seemingly with a ton of particle physics, obviously huge explosions and stuff like that, massive weapons that'll tear through like 20 enemies at a time. So it's fun in that sort of sense where it's like really kind of visceral and engaging and kind of bombastic, but beyond that, there's not a ton of depth. And there are also elements to the game that feel kind of underbaked, whether that be like through the UI not being super fleshed out, like you can't really navigate through menus super easily. You kind of have to take roundabout ways, and like not everything is accessible through the main menu. And it's like you have to go through different menus in the game in order to get to certain screens.
Hmm.
It's just something that screams
That's
lack of
always
polish or
annoying.
lack of development time. And it's not something that is like obviously noticeable but like as you spend a ton of game
It'll add up as
hours
you
in a
play it
game,
more. Like
it definitely
if the
adds up.
menus
Yeah.
suck and you're playing it
Yep.
for enough time, it's
It,
just gonna
it,
be like, why did you design it this way? Fucking Fire Emblem Warriors original.
yeah. And this is like an online game that is constantly getting upgrades. So it's like, are you never gonna change this? Who knows? I guess
No, yeah, that's weird.
they have their priorities, which is releasing more content because
Hey,
that is always what must be done.
here's a new
But
variant color to enemies to kill.
yeah, I mean, there's a ton of cosmetic stuff to this game. You get to
Okay.
really pimp out your Space Marine and your Starries. Uh, all of it all looks really cool, honestly. Like the armor
Okay.
and the weapons and the various different. Um, you can do emblem stuff, different
Is
pieces
it
of
like sort
armor,
of
different
live
colors.
service where there's like microtransactions to like buy the shit, or
Yeah,
is it just
yeah.
online and then okay
Yeah, there are premium currencies that you can buy.
on top of the
It's
price of
not
the game?
terribly bad, but it's definitely, I mean, it's a live service game, so there's stuff like that.
Sure.
It just feels like it's not as immediately predatory as like a EA or like a Ubisoft kind of game, but I think that's just because it's not as big of a company to be able to kind of like
Sure.
demand all that stuff or like that. Like, oh, you have your they already have UI issues. They can't have another screen full of just like purely like cosmetic stuff that are like more directly accessible from the EA
Yeah,
page
yeah.
than in game. So I don't think it's quite as bad as that. But there's definitely elements of that where the main like currency that you're using to buy perks and like your different weapons and like different ways to level up your actual unit
Hmm.
is also the same currency that you use for cosmetic stuff. So you have to choose one or the other. And I was like, I'm pissed at that because I was like, well, I obviously have to use all of those resources on my unit because otherwise that's just
You
stupid.
gotta
I'm
go for
making
stats.
me play
You
through
gotta be good rather
even
than look
more.
good.
Yeah, but like, why? I have to sacrifice that? Just give me another unit. It's cosmetics. It's not important to anything, but they can't even let me have that. So
Don't ever say
just
that to a person
another
who
thing
plays
pissed
Team
me off.
Fortress 2.
Uh, there are definitely the there's an easy way to piss me off in a game, and that's to lock drip behind a paywall or any sort of uh, these kind of hindering aspect to
Yeah,
it. Um,
that's why
I
single
was
player
gonna,
games are the
I never,
best.
yeah, I never talked about it, but with first Berserker Khazan, the armor in that is actually sick, and like the cosmetics there, great, and like
Yeah,
it's super easy. Where you have your sets, but then you have your just like whatever appearance, whatever
yeah.
you want
I
to
love
look
it when
like.
they
You have
separate
your
it
separate
out.
thing. It's just so incredible. Like,
Yeah,
why can't more games
every
do
game do
that?
that. I know.
I really don't care if what I'm wearing does not actually equate to what I'm looking like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you have your pieces of armor that need, oh, this piece of armor gives you 5% magic
Yeah, 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 yeah.
resistance or
You
whatever.
want to
It's
get the
like,
best
but
stats
it
with the
looks
best
like
stroke
ass.
combination.
It
Yeah, yeah,
looks so bad. Uh,
yeah, yeah. I love it when games let you do like one or the other. Like the
hmm
Xenoblade Definitive Edition, it lets you get like the normal armor appearance, and if you don't like it, you could like overwrite it with other things and stuff. So like by
hmm
default, it'll like change each armor piece of like clothing on you, but then you have like a separate visual menu if you want to overwrite them. So
hmm
I think that's the
It's
standard that most games should strive for if they're going to have any
yeah,
sort of visual customization and your stuff.
would
Just like
love
keep it
that.
separate.
Yeah. hmm
Like it's, I think that's best.
Fully agree. Yeah, but
So is this game
that's about all I want to.
PvE or is
So
it
yeah,
PvP?
mostly PvE. So there is a PvP mode where you're going up against other players, but the vast majority of the content is going to be three-person co-op versus just a mission that you get to play through.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of a lot of PvE games, when that's the main thing they emphasize, they try to do PvP to appeal to people who
Yeah,
enjoy that, but the modes tend to end up being not half-assed necessarily, but like not as fleshed out or good as or
yeah.
interesting as the
I've
PvE.
heard that the PvP is honestly somewhat like pretty fun
Oh, really?
in a sort of kind of
I was
really
drawing
arcadey,
conclusions.
engaging way. I haven't played it because I hate PvP in most games. It's like this
You
game
afraid of
definitely
being
gave me the
ass?
same. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I'm scared.
and this game definitely gave me the same kind of feeling as I was playing Destiny 2 way back when, and like same kind of
The good vibes of it or
just
the
yeah, the pros and the cons.
okay.
I,
With the gearing
yeah,
system where the cosmetics are the same
yeah.
source of
I
stuff.
think this is less predatory than
Sure.
Destiny 2. But this one you're also paying for the game. Destiny 2, I believe, is
Yeah.
free to
There's an
play.
yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was playing it when it was free to play, so um, there's
Oh, is it not anymore? I
pros
feel
and
like I've asked
cons.
this
I
before on
think it
this
is.
show.
It is. It should
Okay.
be. You just have to pay for each of the expansions that comes out.
Did you play both
But each
Destiny
every
and Warframe or just Destiny?
yeah, I played through Destiny 2 for less time than I played through Warframe. I
Okay, but you
put
played both.
more hours in Warframe. Yeah, yeah. Warframe is probably my favorite out of these kind of games. But that's just like a God, I don't even know. I can't say that.
You don't even want to think
Warframe's
about them.
yeah, Warframe's also an ass in so many ways. uh,
That's what they do
but
to you.
it's fun. They are fun to play.
Hey, yeah, nice. I've not experienced any 4K thing. It's almost a little intimidating because was it
Mm.
originally a book series or a board game, like a
No,
tabletop
so
thing?
40K is a tabletop. It's like
Originally, it's okay,
yeah, it's D&D but way more tactical
but
and
way cooler.
yeah, they love their miniatures in 40K, so that's why
Right? Yeah, yeah,
collect your armies and paint them, or don't.
yeah.
That's a big thing in the community too, is just purchasing
Elitism
armies and
of
letting
whether you
them
paint the
waste away.
fucking figure things that are
No,
just
no,
grayed out.
no, you should always paint them, but
Oh,
people have jobs and lives and like to
well,
collect
yeah,
things,
that's
but
a hobby
may not have the necessary acumen
because you don't want to
to
fuck
have
that
the
up.
time to
You know what I mean?
yeah, and it takes a lot of time, and
Yeah.
not everyone has that. So, but still, it's a fun world to kind of go on a deep dive if you're looking for a kind of interesting sci-fi, gritty, kind of pessimistic look at the future. Um, it's very kind of funny, almost campy in a way, just because it's like, oh, burn the heretics, death to the Xenos. It's like it's very kind of very cultish and pessimistic and sardonic on its look on humanity and obviously everywhere, all the other alien races in the universe. But
Yeah, cool.
fun games.
Yeah, I'll probably play Rogue Trader thingy at some point. Um,
Hell yeah.
Eventually, maybe.
I've heard the DLC that's been coming out for that game has been fantastic.
Oh,
So
really?
if it was ever a time, it would be when all of that's on sale and you can
Oh
grab it all.
shit,
It's a good deal.
bro! I cannot buy it full price.
Hell
You
no.
know me. I gotta wait until it's at least like 40% off or some shit.
Yeah, they do that a lot.
Mm-hmm. All right. I have another thing to talk about here. So Silent Hill 2. I played two versions of that, sort of on a journey to expand my horizons in games, because the types of video games I like a lot are going to be the JRPGs that tend to be long, that are mostly turn-based ones. So I'm trying to venture out. I'm trying to experience new things in gaming. So I went to a series that's quite beloved, and it's a big name, and it's one that I have not, for a good chunk of my life, been able to play. But I mean, for a while I could have been able to, but I wasn't aware that the old collection of it was on a system that I've had for a long time. Anyways,
Hmm.
I checked out the first Uncharted game, which is called Uncharted Drake's Fortune, specifically
Nice. Hmm.
the remastered version of it. And when people talk about the Uncharted series, sort of similar to the Halo games, I guess, is when they like hype up the series. They're not really talking about the first entry. Um,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and
yeah,
that's apparent with
yeah.
this one here, where it's a game it's got action, it's got platforming.
Expl
Um, there's a
Exploration,
not really exploration. There's
puzzle
like puzzle
solving.
solving every once in a
Yeah, yeah.
while, that are sort of easy and infrequent. I thought it would have a better balance between puzzles, platforming, and combat. But
Hmm.
a very big chunk of this game is combat. And so coming out
A
of
lot
Silent
of
Hill
it.
2
Hmm.
Remake, where my biggest takeaway was too much combat. The combat sucks and it's annoying. Just to jump into this, where I have that same takeaway. There's too much combat. It takes too long and it's annoying. Except this one, you shoot guns rather than poke sticks. I mean, you shoot guns in Silent Hill 2, but you have
Yeah, 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 yeah.
way less
It's not like
ammo.
Uncharted.
Yeah, it's not like Uncharted where you're fighting fucking 50 dudes in like the
Hmm.
same fucking area. Um, so yeah, it's despite its short length, it somehow manages to be repetitive in its gameplay. The thing I did like most about the gameplay was how it transformed the set pieces from like being action based, where you're fighting a bunch of dudes, and it like all these objects in the area are arranged in such a way for like cover and like blocking out stuff. And then once you wipe out all of them, then the area, it doesn't change at all visually, but it becomes like a platforming challenge of like, oh, I need to jump from this thing to another that I was previously having a battle in, and now I'm jumping all around in like a fucking
Hmm.
a playground or something. So I thought the way they did that uh, was quite nice and interesting. They emphasize the story a bit in this one too, which is fun. It's a solid standard treasure hunting
Yep.
journey thingy, where you're like going in the middle of the jungle, like in the middle of nowhere. You got like a witty protagonist and his witty older sidekick dude. You got uh, girl A, and then you got like a rival gang sort of trying to get the treasure before you
Compete.
do, and also
Hmm.
use like the information you've gathered to get there first. And the treasure thing is some sort of like weird mystical ancient power thingy that goes berserk maybe. So like the story is fun and it's there and it's nice. It's just like the too much gunplay, too many guns that I'm shooting, too many fucking enemies that I'm mowing down. Like in this one, he's probably fighting a couple hundred dudes that like is
It's a
just in
lot.
this
Yeah,
is
it's a
just,
private army.
yeah, it's basically a private army. I feel like it's just like a mercenary dude like you're
Hmm.
fighting against. I don't really know though. I don't remember. Um, and the platforming, it's okay. It's basically you just okay, you jump from this rock to another, then you uh, lower
Follow the
yourself and you
pathway.
crawl
Yeah.
on a from a rock cliff from one point to another, and then you have to jump at a very specific point, or like if you miss it or fuck up, you have to redo the
Hmm.
section again. Like sometimes it is a little bit hard to tell where exactly the game wants you to go. Like the replacement for that would be put yellow paint everywhere. Like we don't need that necessarily, but like with call me stupid, but like without the yellow paint, sometimes it can be difficult to. At least in this
I
game,
love the
it
yellow
can be
paint,
difficult
honestly.
sometimes to figure out where the
Yeah.
fuck it wants me to jump or not jump or
Hmm.
do certain things. Um, it's also an example of the game that has that annoying like you're trying to figure out how to do something and then like maybe you figure it out, but then the characters that you're walking around with are like, why don't you try this thing? How about you look at this? Which like I've only really
Yeah.
heard about and I've never experienced it for myself, and I feel like a lot of the people talking about that sort of thing maybe have been uh, referencing this game here. So I mean that was a thing I noticed. Um,
Hmm.
Overall, it's okay. It's dated, and again, like the gameplay is annoying in terms of just stop making me fight a billion dudes in each area. Like there's no reason for it. Um, and so yeah, like it's okay. It's decent. It's got a fun enough story to sort of carry you through most of the gameplay to get you sort of over its faults, but it's not one that sticks with me too immensely here. Um, so that's my verdict on the first Uncharted game. Um,
This series has like a soft spot in my heart just because this was one of the few series that I was able to play on PlayStation,
oh,
along
you've
with God
played
of
this?
War at my uncle's house because he had a
Mm,
PlayStation. And so I even so the first one I do remember being definitely weaker than the rest of them.
sure.
Is the most immediately dated, just in that game design. And yeah, I think I don't even remember a whole lot about it. Besides that, the next games were much better in my eyes, immediately more memorable. Um, which is kind of sad to say, but considering how that seems to be the popular opinion, well, they they just did better as they made more games. So,
Yeah, I had no idea that you uh, played these originally. Maybe we'll have some more differences in opinions
mm,
about other games in the future. Maybe if I ever played those or have already. Um,
mm,
but I won't reveal that quite yet because the next game I have to talk about is Raidou Remastered: The Mystery of the Soulless Army, which is technically a remastered thing of this game called Shin Megami Tensei fucking Raidou Kuzunoha or whatever it was called. And this is a Shin Megami Tensei joint, but it's like a spin-off. So instead of being turn-based, it's uh, real-time action sort of. Um, which like that aspect of it is not the greatest. The combat is quite stiff, and it's not at all close to the best action-based combat game that
mm-hmm.
you especially would have played. Um, I did enjoy myself with it though. It's simple and I think it works enough. Um, in the SMT games and sort of in Persona, you get like demon allies from like the various monsters you fight up against. And that happens in this game too, where you have your party members, like you have two of them summoned in the field at once, and they'll like fight alongside you, and you could sort of dictate moves to give them or things to like commands to emphasize doing over the other. So I think it does work overall. It's not the perfect version of what it could potentially be, but I do think it works uh, well enough. Um, oh yeah, so the premise or like the main idea of it is you're playing as this uh, dude who's like this otherworldly protector of like the main world, and then like demons try to come in from another world. So you're sort of like the protector guardian of uh, preventing demons from fucking over the entire country. It takes place in an older period of Japan in like the 18 or 1900s. I cannot really tell because like there's guns, but they're still using swords and stuff. 'Cause Japan sort of hung on to that for a little bit, and
Hmm.
they're sort of starting to use European clothing, but not everybody does that. So I think it's like late 1800s, early 1900s is when that was a thing that was
Okay.
sort
Hmm.
of happening there. Um, but that's me trying to like think of like the film High and Low versus like when that's taking place or not taking place.
Yeah.
Because even that like carried over where there's some people are still in traditional Japanese clothing and some people are in like the more Western or to them Eastern because their map is different clothing and stuff. So, uh, anyways, the story in this game is actually really crazy, and it's not perfect, but it goes places I never would have imagined, and it's just like kind of insane, and it the whole thing it feels made the fuck up, but it's honestly really fun, and wacky and out there. Again, not perfect, but like it definitely kept my attention once it started to get like interesting around the midway point or so, up until the end. Like it's just crazy moment after moment happening. I'm like, I cannot believe that they just decided to do that in the story. Um, and like it's weird because it's a remastered version of like an old game, and like it technically looks better than that one, though it's still not the most striking uh, visual game of the modern day. Um, like they modernize the art style a bit, but like some of the 3D models of the people like look a bit uncanny, sort of slightly. So it sits in this weird like it's better looking, I guess, but it also looks kind of off or weird or whatever. But like I don't know, it's stylized still in such a way where it doesn't like immensely bother me. I don't think. Um, oh, to get back to the combat, like the enemies, like the AOE attacks on some of the boss fights were like had unclear hitboxes where I was most certainly, or so I thought, out of range of a lot of their attacks, but they would still like hit me somehow, even though like I'm outside of like their circle thingy, but like they still are dealing damage to me. So that felt weird and also contributed to the sort of unpolished sort of uh, combat story. Um, combat story. I was looking at my notes and trying to think at the same time, and I read over when I wrote story. Combat is not a story, just combat. Um, and oh yeah, other random thing that doesn't matter that much, but it has bad collisions on objects you're trying to interact in the world, where a lot of times there would be like a little item or some shit in the world, and I would walk up to it, and I would be like right on top of it, and the uh, thing to interact with it would not be there. So I had to like walk away slightly and then approach it, but not be directly on top of it, but I was still facing it, and then that would make it work. It was weird and probably only something that I noticed. But to me, it's a fault on the game for doing that. Um, but anyways, this game is a lot shorter and it's a bit more quickly paced than the mainline entries of the series. You'll go through levels a bit quicker. You'll get through the story and all of the areas a bit quicker than the turn-based mainline games. Um, so it was a fun uh, time to go into the world. Excuse me, of SMT for like a bit for a different version, a different tackle of the story would, or excuse me, for the gameplay, which I admire them doing things differently. Obviously, I prefer the turn-based games as I do in general, but specifically for this because it's not the greatest thing ever. I still think it's good enough though and services the game and what it's trying to do. So I enjoyed my time with this. I want to check out more of the mainline SMT games, and then they also have I mean, we talked about it in Metaphor. They have a fuck ton of spin-offs and stuff that I want
Yeah,
to
yeah, they do.
check out. So I want to play
I
those
mean,
also.
Godspeed. You're slowly making your way through all
Hey,
of the Atlas games,
one a
which,
year, right? Because they don't make more than that. Surely, I'll catch up in
yeah,
40 years.
thankfully. And it's all remakes, so you only have to play them once, really. You don't
Hey,
have to play the original.
well, that's only
Although
this
sometimes
one.
it's fun.
They haven't remade too many games.
Yeah,
I mean, it's really like Persona 3. They did the enhanced re-releases of
the
the some of
various
the
SMT
Personas and
ones.
SMT 5. But for the most part, I feel like I mean they had what the fuck was it called? Devil Survivor Redux or the Devil fucking.
Um,
They had one of them where it was on the DS and then they had a 3DS remake that people don't like. Strange Journey Redux. People don't like that one, but I'm gonna play it and I'm gonna be like, actually, it's really good, and the differences don't matter. You're biased, nah. You know what I mean?
yep,
Versus I played the
yep.
original and then I played the remake. I'm like, that remake fucking ruined everything. What were they thinking? So yeah, that's Raidou Remastered. It was fun.
That's good to hear. Um,
How many more games do you got? Do you have?
I've
'Cause I
just
got
got one to talk
oh
about right now.
I got three. So I played Uncharted. Took a break from the Uncharted series, then played Raidou, and then I decided,
Mhm.
well, I'm already on this sort of Uncharted mind
Yeah,
thing, so
had to hop back in.
I might as well check out and play the second, which is, I think, out of them the most beloved, maybe, or am I making shit up? Do people like
Yeah,
three or four more?
it's my favorite, from what
Oh,
I can tell. Although I have heard good things about 4. I still have not played
yeah,
that one.
it has a higher average rating on Backlogged, which again I don't completely trust, but
Yeah.
I could believe that people would hold it in a similar high regard. Um, and I was expecting big changes from 1 to 2, but really there wasn't too much of that. Um, they kind of so they made the game longer, right? And they made
Hmm.
the my biggest problem with it even more pronounced, where there's even more gunplay
Guns.
and
Yep.
the
Yep.
enemies have even more health. So you're fighting like I mean in this one you're literally fighting hundreds of them. You are killing hundreds of just like random ass like you said earlier private army dudes from like where the fuck do they make these people? They're just like were they bred for this specific
Where
purpose
are
in
they
life to be
hiring
used for
them
like this
to
random
fucking get
Russian
die, just get shot
mercenary
by?
dude? Like oh my god, you fight so many
Yep. Yep.
fucking you would think it's like a zombie game. You know what I mean? Like how did they get so many
The
enemies in this shit?
gameplay is like an
It's such
arcade
like a
shooter.
it's such like a specific thing. Like we're in the middle of this
Hmm.
fucking jungle and Arctic and the highlands of Mongolia or whatever the fuck. But you got all these like Russian or whatever soldiers there. It's like where whatever. I can accept it. The main draw I think to the second game is not only the story but the set pieces are a lot um more interesting and memorable. The again my main issue with them is the length of them because like the train sequence is really cool but it's so long. You're on that train for so much fucking time. It feels like an infinite train, but it's also complete bullshit because you'll like go on it for like a number of cars and you'll pass up and then like you'll transition from one moment of it to another and the scene will show you like you're near like the end of it. It's like, bro, I've traveled across 50 carts on this train spending like but like dude, I was trying so hard on some of these the moments in this game, some of the set pieces. It's just like so it feels like bullshit sometimes. The amount of enemies they stick up against you or the situations they put you in. Maybe that's the point. I think I did experience a bug though, where like it was in like the one of the snowy areas. There's like these big ass dudes that just like have a million hit points, and you have to, at the very least, I think they want you to take them out with grenades and shit. So I would do that, and then you're supposed to climb up on another area in front of you. But every time I would do that for a while, it would like just like the dudes would like get up even though I killed them, and they would like shoot me immediately as soon as I got or was like getting to the top of it. It was weird as fuck. So that happened like 3 times, and I could not do anything about it. I don't know if I was doing something wrong there or what. Um, the I mean, from the beginning, right off the bat, it's got a really good hook and intro where, I mean, I feel like Mission Impossible, one of them, it stole the set pieces of the first one in this. I don't know if you remember what it was, but it was basically just that you're on like the train in the like the winter place, and you're like climbing up it from like
Oh
the
yeah,
inside
I
and
guess they
outside.
did. Yeah.
And that's cool. But the main issue is that you do it twice in the game, because you do it at the beginning as like a prologue tutorial, and then you go back in time like a however much, like a month or whatever. Um,
Hmm.
and then you play through the game and you get to that point, and then you continue beyond that point. But as you're transitioning through that, you're like you play that section again, but it's like slightly shorter, but you're still doing it for like most of that sequence. So it just like felt weird to me. Like why am it's not any different. It's not any more challenging. In fact, it's easier because you're getting rid of some of the challenge by speeding it up slightly. But you're like you're still doing it. You're still making me do it. Like I didn't understand that. So
Couldn't be a cutscene or anything. Yeah.
yeah, no, exactly. Like I already did this like not even that long
Hmm.
ago in game hours. So that was weird. The story, I guess, is better. It's a bit more dynamic. There's sort of more going on in the terms of like you got this rival, ally, not ally person who betrays you, and then like he's joining with the Russian dude, and they're betraying each other maybe slightly, and then there's this other girl who likes you and is sort of doing the same thing of betraying you and not betraying you later. It's interesting and it's fun. It's sort of like uh, the story in the first game, and it maybe is more interesting. And again, this game gets crazy in terms of the set pieces and the locales, and you're going up against like
Hmm.
these fucking like ancient Yeti dudes, I guess, to spoil things, and like some other random ass, essentially alien creature things in like the middle of the jungle. It's pretty interesting where it goes. It's just like I wish the gameplay I could have enjoyed more um, throughout both of these games. But it was even like more so pronounced in the second one because there was more combat and it was longer because enemies had bigger health bars and stuff. So
Hmm.
I am the platform I think was better though. It was easier to tell where to go, and it was more frequent and more interesting, I would say, and like the way that the platforming challenges interacted with the worlds and like the I guess the puzzles were also maybe slightly better. So it is a better game, I would say overall. It's just the combat. Don't make me shoot all these dudes for the next 10 hours, and then I have to try
I
and
don't know what
retry
it.
again and again because it's such bullshit stacked against you sometimes in these moments.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is about the games you chose to pick this week, but or this month. It seems like you're just a gameplay hater, from what I can
Hey, I
tell.
hate games.
This shit sucks. Why am I playing these
Bro, I
games?
hate combat. Why can't I
Uh,
just play the fucking farming sim or whatever?
no, but it's been a long time since I've played Uncharted 2, so I can't really vouch for all of these points you're bringing up. All I can speak to is I remember the experience of playing through these games, and it is so cinematic. You're talking about these
It
set
feels like
pieces
you're
and
playing a
how
movie.
it's just constantly flowing from like cutscene to scene, and the flow of the game is very well paced. I remember loving, like, yeah, there's obviously, you know, the suspension of disbelief that you have to engage with, because otherwise you are just gunning down hundreds and hundreds of
It just makes no
armed
sense
soldiers
after a certain
across
point.
the map. And it is really ridiculous. It's kind of funny, but
Yeah,
I think
it
I
is
remember
funny.
engaging with it beyond that and just kind of suspending my disbelief.
But sure, no, yeah,
It's obviously very much akin to and inspired by an Indiana Jones type tale
yeah.
where you
But he's
get your
not like gunning
gunslinger.
down 50 dudes for like five
He's not.
minutes. You
It's
know what I
definitely
mean?
heightened, but it is a video game at the end of the day. So
You
you
have to
have
have
to do
gameplay.
stuff like that. I mean, even in the newest in Indiana Jones that just came out, I think I heard good things about it. But it's
Hmm.
also like it's doing the triple. You have to punch and kill people, or
You have to kill
you have to use your
hundreds
wipe.
of people.
You have to punch a lot of Nazis. It's just what you must do. Um, so I remember liking two a lot better than the first one, just because of uh, it's an improvement across the board. I think
The scale is a lot bigger, also.
cinematics, scale, cutscenes, just the structure to the story is better. The characters are better. The set pieces, as we've discussed, I think the combat was stronger. Even though you hate both, but I think it's just better paced and implemented within the game. From what I remember, it's been a long time, but um, I might want to check them out eventually and replay them because it
Yeah.
has been so long, and I still haven't played the fourth one, so
Okay.
I guess we'll have to see. That might be
Yeah,
worth
because
it.
there's those four, and then there's more after that, I think. But they're focused
I,
slightly less on Nathan Drake.
yeah, there's like a side thing or
What is it?
something.
Lost Legacy? Or is that different?
Yeah, no Uncharted 5 technically, but they
Right.
have made other
There's more
stuff.
sequels. Yeah, I mean, like I would summarize the second one especially if it feels like you're playing a movie. Um, but I want to play a video game that has good gameplay, and not like if I wanted to experience a movie, I would watch a movie. You know what I mean? I don't want to.
Hmm.
I'm not as into these cinematic experiences. I want to
How long
experience
was this
this.
game for you?
Slightly longer than the first, maybe like 12 hours or 15
Okay.
or so.
Because
Um,
I mean, I get what you're saying. Naughty Dog obviously is known for these kind of really highly cinematic games that are like blending between movie and real
yeah,
games or
they're
whatever
definitely basing on
with
like
their last one.
the
Um,
cutscene composition and like the acting and the writing
yeah,
um,
and I mean,
off of film.
it's a popular thing now. I
Yeah.
think these games directly remind me of new God of War games that I was playing recently, and it's just like the structure of it, the quality, the focus on cinematics, the blending of things. Um, but those games are like way longer, way more in depth, and it's like I get you could say bloated in such a way where we're going past what is necessary, or like the kind of that spark that the original kind of genre had. But obviously, like you said, it's maybe just not really a thing that scratches an itch and making it even bigger and just like expanding on the things that already really couldn't
Yeah,
carry
like it because it doesn't
such a
really
narrative
expand
weight.
on the gunplay. It's like maybe there's an extra
Hmm.
gun or two that wasn't in the original. There's at least a couple of them. Like I don't think there was an SMG or something in the. There might have
Hmm.
been, but there was at least a couple maybe of them that were unique to this one. But it's not like you're still just shooting dudes at the end of the day. You're still ducking behind
Hmm.
cover and then
Hmm.
shooting them, and then a new wave comes, and then you're shooting them, and then new wave comes, and you're shooting them,
Yeah.
and then they don't
Yeah,
stop
I don't
coming.
mean I don't remember it being particularly difficult, but I do remember it.
I had trouble with
It's
it.
just
Maybe I'm bad, but like
you might be bad.
there were some moments, dude, that were really not nice. Um, so
That's tough
yeah,
though.
I don't like
But
video games. Is my verdict. I
you don't
hate
like
them.
video games. It's I guess what we're finding out.
I mean, some of these are some of the video games of all time. Like, I mean, I like Silent Hill too,
Yeah.
and I did like the remake also. Like I enjoyed the remake more than I did either of these Uncharted games. Um, so I can't accept that they are not for me despite the fact that I will play 3 and I
Which
probably
I
will
mean,
play 4 and I will not
you
like it.
will not like it. You won't
Well,
like
we'll
them.
see.
You
Who knows?
might like
Maybe.
4, 3. I'm telling you, it's more the same. Spoiler alert: if you liked one of them, you are gonna like them all.
Ooh,
And if you
it
didn't
goes the
like them,
opposite
well,
way.
spoiler alert. Yeah,
Well, I have that to look forward to, and so does the
I
audience.
guess we'll hear about that next month.
Maybe if I have the stomach to go back
Yeah,
so
or you
soon.
might let that one sit on the
I might
shelf
need to
for
give it
a
some
little
time. I
while.
don't know.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what grabs your attention first.
Mm-hmm.
Something else, maybe.
Exactly.
Um, on my end,
Mm-hmm.
this is the last game I want to talk about, and there's a reason for that. Is because I am replaying Elden Ring
Oh,
from scratch and gonna play through Shadow of the Erdtree. Thing is, I've been playing this for like I don't know, like 60 hours now maybe, and
damn.
I'm not at the DLC. I'm playing from scratch. I'm playing like it's a new character, but it's not a new character. I'm playing the same build. Spoiler alert, I was playing the same. I'm playing Great Sword. I'm playing Strength. I
That's just
literally
what you do
tried.
every time. You can't avoid
I
it.
tried. I swear to God, I tried because I'm like, you
This
know
time I'm
what?
gonna do something
I've
different.
already I've already played Elden Ring. I'm replaying it. So this is the perfect reason to explore the wider game systems that FromSoft put into this game. They put in so many weapon types, so many Ash of Wars, sorceries, magic systems, levels to levels to levels, and I tried. I played a few levels of a Dex character, and I said to myself, this is wrong. This feels wrong. This is not right. And so I restarted, and I went Great Sword, and I haven't looked back. It's it's a great game. On replay, I might like it more on replay. I might bump this up like a point or so. There's just something about it. It scratches an itch, unlike any other Souls game, obviously, because this is that open world.
Hmm.
Um, but it's so interesting to see how they translated their, you know, their vocabulary for game design and game development into a unique world and do it so successfully. Um, I remember when this came out and how big it got and like how many eyes were on it, and it's impressive that they've really. I mean, I don't mean to glaze FromSoft, but man, they do it different. They do it different there. Um, and I'm enjoying it. I'm playing, I guess, slightly differently. I'm playing with I'm still using just my greatsword, but I'm playing with a little more magic. I'm buffing myself. I'm trying to engage with more of the systems. Um, it's dope. There's so much going on in those games. Um, and I just look at all the weapons that I'm picking up and all the
Nope.
sorceries, and I'm like, wow, that seems so cool. That literally looks so cool. Damn, I wish I could play that, but I can't, and so I
uh,
won't. And so I'll just like look at it and imagine how cool it would be. Well, instead I just play through the same game again. And man, I think if I play through the Dark Souls games eventually, as I probably will, I'm probably gonna play through the same way. It just there's something about it. I kind of came to the conclusion when I was playing with Khazan is like it just feels right. It's the gameplay loop that I am attracted to. It does something to my brain where I dodge for however many seconds because my sword takes 5 whole seconds to swing.
mhm.
But when I do swing it that one time, I just see the health bar just disappear, and it's so satisfying for me. And obviously you can get that same feeling when you're doing like a dex build or any build, but it just I don't know. It doesn't scratch that same itch. So instead, I don't know. I'm playing through Great Sword again, and yeah, I haven't even made it to the DLC yet, and that's the whole reason why I wanted to replay this. But man, the game is good enough to get lost in even without that. So, um, glad I picked it up again. Uh, Definitely enjoying my time. Um, Man, they do it different at FromSoft. The Souls like games really scratch a certain itch for me, and I'm glad that they're so consistent.
Mhm.
And whenever I need a game like that, whenever I'm looking for that gameplay that gameplay that I can't get enough of, I'll usually head to a Souls-like game because it's a unique experience, and that difficulty and that grind and the tension and release of not being able to get a boss and just like actually learning it and getting the punishes down. It's just a unique gaming experience that you're not going to get anywhere else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Um, I played this game for maybe 5 or 6 hours.
Hmm.
Um, these ones are tough for me. I mean,
It's asking a lot.
any action based game. You know
Hmm.
me, I hate gameplay.
It's just a
The
lot of gameplay. In
any
fact, there's no story, so it's like it's all
bro, what
gameplay.
the fuck?
I know.
Um, I am just bad at the action real time. Oh, I have to parry or dodge at a particular
Hmm.
timing. Like I could do Clair Obscure because that's that mixed with the turn based stuff, so I get
Yeah.
more. Like I feel like I had more chances to learn the
Yeah.
timings
Yeah.
of things in that game compared to this or other games like this. Um, like I think I got to the Margaret fight and that took me a while and I beat it and
Hmm.
I understood the
The appeal.
in
It's that
defeating him
feeling.
after
Hmm.
fighting him for like it did legit take me like a couple hours. Even though it's one of the easier fights probably or something because it's one of the earlier story
Hmm.
fights. Um, but like even then I realized and I understood, oh, this overwhelming satisfactory sensation that I'm feeling is the
Hmm.
high that you and all these other people are sort of chasing with these games. Um, but like in that same moment, I was like, but things are gonna get so much tougher and worse from here. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna touch it for now.
It's yeah,
I
it's
know because I
definitely
know it'll only get worse, and eventually I'm fighting the boss and not even beating it in the same play session. Like I'll have to come back the next day. I'll have to like try to go to sleep at the thought of like, oh Jesus, tomorrow I have to fight fucking the red-haired night lady again. You know what I mean? Like I'm
yeah.
going to bed
I
thinking about that, and then I wake up and I'm back on it at some point. So
I think there's only ever been like two or three maybe bosses that I've had to go to sleep over, and like where I've like
because
I haven't been able to get done
you've
in
been
like
playing
a
these games
session.
all your life and you're good at them.
Yeah, and the thing is like it's the reason why I enjoy these games is not necessarily because of that, that overcoming great odds to beat a boss. It's definitely a part of it, but
Okay.
I think the overall appeal to these games for me is it forces me to slow down. And when like I'm so focused on, completing these games as quick as possible in order so I can, log a score or whatever. It's just something that's very deliberate in Souls games where you're taking it level by level. Each mob, has an opportunity to kill you. Everything's deadly.
Hmm.
So you kind of have to the way they design their levels in such a way where you have to take out each enemy one by one in order to be able to explore everything because otherwise they will kill you. And it's I guess that combination of me really loving to like 100% explore an entire map and go through every question mark or every point of interest and
Hmm.
complete all of that with that sort of uh, slowed down tempo to the gameplay where each dungeon is dangerous. You have to kind of engage with it on its own and kind of take your time. It just scratches a different itch for me and it makes me enjoy kind of getting more immersed in a project. Kind of similarly to how I felt about that Silent Hill 2 remake. It's like
Right.
sometimes a slower gameplay loop, it is really nice, and there's something to be said about that.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
obviously
I'm
not,
all for
yeah,
slower
yeah,
experiences,
yeah,
just not the when I have to
not the
on the
action
fly
gameplay
react to
wise,
shit.
yeah,
Oh,
because you
that's a
love your
sword coming at me.
gameplay, you love a lot of gameplay, but maybe not the real time gameplay quite as much.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah. I mean, like I could see myself coming back to this game eventually because like even when I was playing it, I could tell it's a very very well made game. The aesthetics across all of the Dark Souls games is so solid, from
Hmm.
the environmental design and look of things, and the creature designs as well, like the enemies you're going up against. Um,
Hmm.
so like I could see myself going back to this maybe at some point. I would maybe want to get maybe like, rather than like, jumping all the way up at like some super epically difficult one, maybe climbing up the ladder staircase a little bit
Yeah.
to ascend
I mean,
slightly in the difficulty factor. Even
Elden
though
Ring is
supposedly it's one of the easy
probably
ones or
the
some
easiest
shit.
one.
Oh
Yeah,
my
and
god.
it absolutely
Oh
is.
my
Like
god.
it's by far the least balanced of any of the FromSoft games,
Not really.
any of the Souls games that I've ever played. Generally,
Really.
um, it's by far the least balanced, and that's
Because
just
it has
has
the
to
most
do with the
freedom.
fact that it's open world. So like you can do the bosses in not any order, but largely you
Hmm.
can do whatever you want. And obviously things are level gated, and so you're not going to have a lot of success going up against late game bosses early on, but you could. And but the thing about that is it works in reverse because you can just spend your time doing everything except the bosses, and then go up against the bosses extremely overleveled and just mollywop them. And it's like it kind of honestly that's one of the biggest problems I have with Elden Ring, is the lack of balance because
Hmm.
I like doing all of that stuff
Right.
before moving on. Like if I'm in Limgrave, I'm going to do all of the dungeons in Limgrave before I go up against Margit. And then by the time I go up against Margit, I'm hitting him 3 times and he's dead. And it's like, well, that's not super satisfying.
Sure.
It's satisfying in a different way because I love that open world aspect to it.
No, yeah.
And then towards the end, all of the bosses kind of scale up and things kind of get more balanced towards the late game. That's a different problem in and of itself. Is like you feel so strong and then immediately hit the wall where it's like, okay, we're in like the post game now, where it's like you had your open world and then they kind of funnel you into a more linear path towards the end of the late game, and it's you're going up against bosses at same level, same as most people, and the difficulty just climbs because of that, due to their various resistances, stuff like that. But still, it's just a really unique and impressive pivot from them to do something so ambitious
Yeah.
and have it succeed against
Hmm.
in a very saturated market.
Hmm. So do you think, for me or any theoretical viewer, for their
Hmm.
first
I think it's a
Souls
great
experience,
one to recommend as a first Souls game.
is it
I
the
would just
best though?
recommend taking your time, and if you're struggling with difficulty, to do other stuff. My it's tough because I like all of the Souls games, so I could recommend each for like a different reason. Like
Hmm.
the Sekiro game is my favorite Souls game, period. But uh, I would recommend that as someone's first because it's so different from the other ones that it really, if you're just playing a standalone game, you could pick up Sekiro, and it wouldn't really impact you if you haven't played any of the other Souls games because
Hmm.
the gameplay loop is completely different. But then again, like if you're interested at all in that world and level design, I think one is probably my favorite in terms of that, just in like that intricacy of the interwoven levels that constantly loop back and forth, and like you'll end up constantly unlocking new level. It's almost like a Metroidvania in that aspect.
Hmm.
But yeah, I would say it would be either Sekiro if you're interested in a Souls-like that has different combat as opposed to dodge rolling and like stuff like that. You're focusing on parrying. One, if you're more interested in like just the roots of it, it's really impressive how well it stands up. And then Elden Ring if you're looking for like probably the easiest pathway to getting into it. Because you don't have to go up against the bosses until you're
Hmm.
ready, and that is nice because in all the other games you're kind of it's much more linear. You're dealing with the bosses as they come at you.
Hmm. I'll have to consider something,
Mm-hmm.
and so will the
Mm-hmm.
viewer. Yeah, that's nice that you have a game that you played that you enjoyed. Um, I
Do you have
have.
one that you can talk
Well, I did.
about
I did
now
like
that you
Raidou. I
enjoy?
did like that, and
Hmm.
I sort of liked Silent Hill too, but
Right, right.
somewhat not really in some ways. Um, the next game I have to talk about, I also have mixed feelings about. Who would have known?
Hmm.
So there was. I think I mentioned it at some point. I was talking about like, oh, there's this gacha game coming out in the future that I'm slightly maybe interested in checking out. Well, it released a few weeks ago, and it's called Arknight's Endfield. And it's a 3D, not like open world, maybe like open zone, sort of somewhat uh, action based combat uh, gameplay stuff. It's I don't know if it's a sequel. There was this other gacha game just called Arknights, and that's a tower defense. Uh, Meanwhile, again, this one is like newer and different in terms of gameplay. It has some overlapping characters and locations and keywords and various things. I didn't really pay much attention to the Arknight story. Um, Nor did I pay too much attention in the Enfield story in this one because it's a gotcha game story and those are never that good. But this one is unique because it combines that open zone sort of uh, action based combat with like a Factorio base maker thingy, which is unique and interesting because it's like the intersection of an audience between gotcha gamers and people who play and enjoy Factorio is probably not a massive intersection there. Because when I think gotcha gamers, it's like okay, it's people who want the most brain dead, easy ass gameplay, who want to look at hot anime characters and
Hmm.
spend a bunch of money on useless shit that doesn't help them in real life at all. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Um, versus somebody who plays Factorio, which that's all about the gameplay and thinking about fucking I don't even know. I've never played it, but like mapping out
Min-maxing
yeah, min
is,
maxing
yeah.
resources management and the
Hmm.
creations of them, and this resource leads to making this resource, and then makes
Hmm.
effectiveness of whatever engineering thingy. Um, so it's two different worlds, and the developers of this gotcha game have to come up with a way to help the player figure out what the fuck is going on for the factory building portion. And the way they do that is giving you a fucking million tutorials, just tutorials after tutorials for the
Mm.
first like 10 or 20 hours of the game. You're just bombarded with these things. Like I don't think I've ever seen more tutorials in such a short like it's such like a consistent frequency. And there were a number of them that were required that I did, and then there was a lot of them that were optional that I still haven't touched. Um,
Are they even more tutorials than, let's say, like a Persona 5 X Shadows, whatever? Because I remember that game also having,
did
it's a
it?
gotcha
I
thing.
feel like this one has more. I don't even remember that many. I just remember that game letting me down in a billion different. I just remember the fucking
Other
subway
ways,
slammer.
yeah,
That's all I remember, and like the stupid train side mode thingy, subway slammer.
nothing
That's
else
all I
hurt
know.
that much. Hmm.
Yeah. Um, what the fuck was I saying? Now I can't get the Subway Slammer out of my head. It's my only thought right now.
Endless
Jesus, fuck that
tutorials.
game. Thank you, tutorials. Um, yeah, I feel like this game definitely has more. It was sort of my big takeaway with a good chunk of the beginning of this game, as well as a lot of other people have complained about it as well. Um, and like the gotcha aspect of it holds this game back a shit ton. It feels like, and all of the systems it's trying to push around the gotcha. Like, I mean, this happens in pretty much every gotcha game where
Mm.
the fact that it's surrounded by this model of, excuse me, pulling the characters and weapons and you not having necessarily any of them at any time. It's all of the issues that accompany that are so much more pronounced in this. Part of that is because they don't give you too many polls, and part of that is because the actual gacha system is just complete garbage and so vague and needlessly complicated. Like I've seen people defend it over the internet, and really there's no point in doing that. Like you're trying to defend people who are trying to fuck you over. You know what I mean? Like there's no use in you trying to defend uh, the people of
Predatory. Yeah.
this game. Yeah, like it's so confusing. So it's like what you okay. So there's I've sort of explained it when I was talking about Wuthering Waves. There's Endless Zone Zero. There's banners where you spend currency to pull on the characters. And in this game, if you do that 120 times, you are guaranteed the specific character for the banner. But before that point, you could get a different 6-star, because in this game it goes up to 6 for some reason because they're special.
Mm-hmm.
So you could get like a different 6-star, and that 6-star has the potential to be a 6-star character on a future banner. So like another limited character who's not like completely fully released yet, but you could get them earlier than other people. But it's like you don't
Right.
really want that because there's no guides for them. Like you'll get them and you could try to figure out what they're all about and like what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But like the online guides of here's how you do them and here's how they fit in, like those just won't be out yet because nobody's going to reliably have access to those characters who are going to be focused on and more properly released in the future. So it's like a fun sort of interaction, like extra layers of gambling of like, oh, I could get this cool character that I want, or I could
Just
get
hit
this
early.
fucking other
Yeah.
one who's coming out in the future. Like um, it's interesting, but it's the way it's handled is really stupid. Because the other thing is this game punishes you if you win the 50-50 and you get the character early. In that, once you obtain the limited 5-star or 6-star, excuse me, once you obtain the focus of the banner, the pity resets. So then you're back to 120 before you guarantee the next 6-star. So like what you actually want to happen is you go all the way up to 120 pity, but along the way you lose 50-50s so you get other 6-stars and potentially get
But
like
then
the
you get a
ones on the future
guarantee.
banner, and then
Yeah.
you get the guarantee of the one on the banner. So
The
it's like
one you
more
want.
six
Right.
stars for less overall pulls. Like the proportion of pulls to 6 stars is higher if you lose the 50-50, which is weird as fuck. And like I just like in other games it doesn't work that way. Because the other
No.
thing is that weapon pulls are specifically tied to character pulls, and that's the main way you get them.
I
So
hate that.
when you
Yeah.
pull, have you ever played a game that does that?
I mean, Persona did something
Oh,
similar.
did it?
I
I
remember.
don't remember.
It
I
was
don't remember because
surprisingly
I
a
don't even
different
think I
resource,
pulled on
but it
any
was like
limited
the
characters
same
because I didn't care.
resource.
Well,
Yeah.
so it's one thing if they're the same resource, and that's different. This one, it's you pull on the character banner, and then as a reward for that, you get weapon banner pulls.
Oh, okay.
That's weird, right? It
Yeah.
doesn't make
I
sense.
mean, I would have to assume you also get weapon pulls elsewhere,
Not
but
really.
like a limited amount.
Not really. A very, very
Not,
small amount.
okay.
Most, like 95,
It's all coming
96% of them
from
is
your
coming
characters.
from like rebates of you doing the weapon or doing the character pulls. It's really weird. And it's again further like punishing you for winning the 50-50. Because if you win the 50-50 too early, then you're not going to have
You're
enough
getting no
pulls to get the
weapons.
weapon. You have to keep
Yeah.
doing the character pulls unnecessarily just to get the weapon pulls. Like it doesn't make
Mm.
sense.
So you can't get lucky. You have to engage
You
with
have
the
to
pay.
get unlucky. And
Yeah.
if you're lucky, you get fucked. So I got the limited 5-star person early. I got them after like 70 or 60 or 80 pulls or something out of the 120. And I actually got two copies of them on the same 10 pole, which had never, I don't think that's happened to me. So that was cool, and it was like this epic lucky moment. But like I didn't even have enough weapon pulls to get their weapon. Like it's weird as fuck.
For
Like
real.
why are we doing things that way? It just I didn't understand it. Um, and so like oh yeah, there was also this issue with PayPal initially. I don't know if you ever heard of this, but like there was this serious fucking problem for their first couple of days where they let you use PayPal to buy things, but somehow you could use other people's PayPals that they've linked to their accounts and just like spend their money. So there would be like these streamers playing these games, and then they would pull up their PayPals and be like, "Bro, why is fucking 200 euros being sucked out of my account? Why is a billion
What the
yen
fuck?
being drained from my PayPal? I didn't spend that. It's because other people were like using it somehow for this fucking gotcha game. So that was weird and not good at all. Like that's awful if you have that lack of security over these
That's
after over a type of game with
incredibly
these
embarrassing. Yeah.
microtransactions. Like that's horrible.
That's a terrible look.
Bro. So that was fucked up, and I think they fixed it now. But like it was there for the first a couple of days at least. Um, so that was bad. Um, the world design sort of annoys me. There's these parts where I would get to an area, I would see something in the distance and be like, how do I get to that point right now? And the answer was, I don't, because I haven't learned the thing to do that yet. And usually when games have that, they make it clear that you are unable to do the thing because like something else exists to let you be able to do that. But I had like no, there was no indication of that whatsoever. So I feel like most games would either like indicate that to me that I could not do that yet and had to do it later, or do some side thing first, or it would just like not let me experience that or think about it at all. Um, so that like there's some moments in that sort of annoyed me in that way. The other thing is that this game sort of expects you to map out the region in the sense that they want you to connect the entire world to like your main factory base thing. So what you do is like you start at your base, you press F or whatever to like get this electrical current line going, and then you set up a tower 80 meters away, and then you set up another tower 80 meters away from that point, and then you set up another tower to just like put towers of electrical currents across the entire map, and then connect those towers to like machine units to get like whatever fucking thing. Like I never really did that too heavily, but it's something that they want you to do. And the supposedly one of the main issues from that is that like once you build more things on the world, it'll like just make your game lag more. So like the more you complete it, the slower your game gets also, which is uh, a little bit unoptimal. So like the actual combat though, I think despite the fact that I hate gameplay, I think it can be good. It's slow at first, definitely, but like once you get a decent team going, I think it can be a lot of fun. It's just gates kept so heavily by their gotcha model and the fact that like a lot of the characters you'll be missing who will be uh, required on like the specific good teams or whatever, because a lot of the characters they're not very general, they're very specific, and a lot of them only work with a handful of other characters. Like it's fairly normal, I feel like, for gacha games to do that, but I feel like it was almost maybe worse in this than some other ones. But it's emphasized so much more by the fact that you have less character pulls than other games, by the amount of gameplay runtime you have within this one. So the game, it looks really good. It's supposedly it gets cooler once you get to this one city place that I have not gotten to, and I don't know if I ever will because I stopped playing it 2 or 3 days ago at this point. If they update it really soon, and it's got a bunch of improvements. I might go back to it for a little bit. Um, I don't enjoy it enough as of right now to spend money on it or literally any more time on it. Um, so a bit of a disappointment. It had a bad launch. You know, some of these live service games, that's just what happens to them, and they improve as they go along. I'm I'm willing to be slightly open to that being the case for this one. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'll keep my eyes and ears peeled slightly to the possibility of them uh, improving this game. The main thing is the gotcha model. Just give more polls and just be less bullshitty. Like I've never seen a system where it punishes you for getting lucky. Like it just makes no sense. Like what the fuck?
It is a unique take on the gacha system, gacha model. I guess we'll have to see how it works out for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Maybe the game will be dead in a month. Who knows?
And then no other gacha company will do that. But if
You would
somehow
think.
they succeed, you know
Mm-hmm.
you're seeing that everywhere else.
Yep. Oh god. All right. Well, I have a more positive thing to end off here, and a bit of a uh, shorter one as well, um, because as I have stated in the past, I share a Switch 2 with my siblings, and we sort of circulated between uh, the three of us. So while it was winter break for them, and it was at the facility of my house, I wanted to use it for a little bit, specifically to play Animal Crossing New Horizons because it had a 3.0 update, somewhat out of nowhere. And this is a game that I like a lot. I'll refrain from giving every single take I have about this game and comparing it to the one that came before it. To summarize my thoughts on it compared to New Leaf, I think it's a certain amount of steps forward and a certain amount of steps back, enough in the positive direction so that even though it's getting rid of some things from New Leaf, it's still creating enough things to replace those things to make it an overall better and more solid experience, I would say. Um, and yeah, it had a 3.0 update somewhat out of nowhere a little bit. Uh, some amount of years ago, they were like, blah, blah, blah update will be the last one. And then we're never touching this game again. And then maybe a year or two later, they were like, Animal Crossing 3.0 update is happening, guys. It's going to be epic. Um, and it's nice. It was nice to return to this, and it was nice to return to the island that I had made. In case nobody knows what Animal Crossing is, it's like a slice of life sim. I mean, really, you do nothing. Like the goal, it's a little bit more defined, I guess. In New Horizons, they sort of guide you a little bit at first, and then there's sort of like an ending, in quotes, thing, and then you just the rest. The real game starts. Maybe I guess sort of after that point. Um, but yeah, it's a slice of life thing. You customize an island. You have a home. You customize your home. You have animal villager friends that you hang out with and stuff. It's a very nice game, and it's a very nice series. I love New Leaf a lot on the 3DS. That's the one that I sort of started with, and I absolutely fell in love with that game. And the Switch one, I like a lot too. This one, New Horizons, and it was again, it was fun to revisit and just go around the island and I mean, just literally go down memory lane of like, oh yeah, this is a thing I tried doing, and this is a uh, piece of the island that I did not finish or forgot the idea for, and stuff like that. And so it's a nice experience. The stuff they added for the 3.0 update seemed interesting. It was mostly just more decorating, which there's already enough of that in the main game, and then they had this DLC called Happy Home Paradise, which was also just a bunch of designing homes and stuff. So now they have another design. This one's a hotel, so it's way different. Um, so, but it was still fun and like I don't know, it's just nice to play. I think the update makes performance better and makes it look slightly nicer also. But it was weird because there's like the 3.0 update, but then there's also a Switch 2 upgrade for like $5. But supposedly, like if you compare and contrast the things in the free update compared to the Switch version, like I think it's just slightly faster load times and slightly better visuals. But I don't even know if it was 60 FPS with the upgrade or if it's still. I think it's still at 30 though, which is silly. I could be wrong though. Um, but even so, like the load times, even just on the Switch 2 without the upgrade, is faster. So it's just like it's weird. Like the upgrade doesn't seem like a big deal or substantial enough difference, so I never got it. Again, I only did like one play session of this for a little bit, and it's a nice game, and it's I mean as of right now, it's still the I guess the best Animal Crossing game to play for first timers. Though, like I don't know, because people have speculated, oh, since they made this update, that means we're not getting a new one until blah 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 5 years or whatever from now. Which, I mean, maybe, but who knows? I don't think it's a massive deal though if you start now versus oh no, they release a new game within the next year, which they would have announced it by now if they're releasing it next year. I feel like definitely. So you have probably at least 2 or 3 years before it. So. But yeah, this game is fun and it's nice and it's one of my favorites. I played this one for I think around 300 hours or so. So big fun times with this one. I like gameplay because
It's
this one
definitely
has. I like the
a ton
gameplay
of
in this because it has
gameplay,
no
really
gameplay.
active gameplay. Yeah, yeah. Famously, Animal Crossing has
Hey,
really great gameplay. No, but I feel like I go through phases of like cozy games
yeah,
where it's just like sometimes I just want to, lose myself in a world where the stakes are non-existent
yeah,
and I just get to focus on improving something,
yeah,
which
yeah, yeah.
is, I mean, either an island or a hotel or a farm, whatever it is, it's just something very tactile and low stakes. And it's definitely something that really hits the spot
Yeah. This
during
is a good
certain
version of
periods.
one of those. I still have
Hmm.
not gone back to the fucking Fantasy Life the girl who
Hmm.
steals time or whatever, which I want to
Hmm.
because that game seems cool. Um, but this one is also a good Animal Crossing. Is a good, excuse me, version of that archetype of game. So
Hmm.
it's nice, and I liked
It's
going back to
nice.
it. So that's the video game section.
You're not gonna believe this. You
What?
know how I would normally talk about music in this segment? Bro, there really wasn't much to talk about this past
No,
January. I mean, it usually
no
happens, right?
way.
Things
Is
slow
the
down
start of the
in
year slow
December
because
and
people drop
January.
everything in the end of the year?
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
Whoa.
people drop in between December and January are usually when there's very little
Uh,
music
well, because
release.
yeah, last time you did your top of
Yeah,
the year,
exactly.
I guess rather
Um,
than new stuff. Okay.
yeah, I think last year I had stuff that I had missed that I kind of brought up, but honestly, I haven't been listening to a ton of recent music, so I've got nothing to speak on
That's
this time. But
crazy.
I know next month there's gonna be some good ones. I already know there's music being released that is gonna be worth talking about, but for
Sorry,
the first month.
what release you lagged out for me slightly?
Oh, I'm just saying that I know there will be music coming down the
Oh, okay, okay,
pipeline that
okay,
I'm
okay,
looking forward to
okay,
already,
okay.
that are like projects that I'm looking forward to. Unfortunately, not much dropped January. And
Unfortunately,
if
you
it
hate
did,
music as much as I hate
I
gameplay.
hate music. It is what it is.
Ah,
I'm already off
where's this
my
podcast going? What have
movies.
we become?
Book readers, for me at least, because that's what we're talking
Hmm.
about next, right? You got anything
And for
to
you
speak on?
only.
I am for me only. All right.
Hey.
Unfortunately, speaking on books is a little tough right now because like I can't just spoil the books for you. So instead, I'll point
Hmm.
you the way of the Red Rising series. I've now last time episode we talked about how I read the first one,
Oh yeah.
and I had continued the series. Now I'm on the sixth book. Um,
Damn.
and the seventh book is coming out later this year, and the seventh is going to be the end of the series. So very excited for that, because as I've continued through the story, uh, it's very enjoyable. It scratches a certain itch of just like having really competent characters do things throughout the entire series. Lots of really kind of smart strategies being used. It's a lot of like tactical uh, mind game kind of fighting and like maneuvering politically. Um, it's all kind of set in this sci-fi universe that is loosely sci-fi, very heavily influenced by kind of Rome and the structure of the Republic. And it's a fun series that I would recommend. I don't know if it's gonna rate as highly as some of my other favorite fantasy slash sci-fi series of all time, but this is definitely a worthwhile series to check out um, if you're ever looking for that kind of really palpable, gritty action. He writes combat and like action really viscerally and matter of factly. It really kind of comes off the page in an interesting way. Um,
Nice.
and he has a certain kind of way of using prose, and it's sometimes it's overwritten, I think, and sometimes it's a little purple, but I think overall it's enjoyable to read. He does a good job of kind of letting some of his prose build a cool image and get into the characters' psyches. This series was originally just a trilogy, so the first three are set, and then there's a 13 plus year time skip, and then the next four are taking place then, um, which is interesting, and I like what they did because the first three were originally released as a trilogy, and then he kind of came back to the series, and it picks up with all the same characters, but obviously after a time skip. So
Mm-hmm.
um, that original trilogy is set up in such a way where you can just read those three, um, and it comes to a nice conclusion. But coming back to the series, it's like, oh, a lot of those conclusions that you got at the end of the trilogy, well, maybe things aren't quite so dandy, and there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
consequences to the actions that happen in the first trilogy that you see expanded on. And there are some infuriating moments where characters are doing things that you would not want them to, but I think it's done in such a way where they're always justified. There's always multiple reasons at play for any action that they take, and even if you disagree or you think they're stupid, they have a reason. And so it's not that the characters are written poorly, but it's the fact that sometimes they're just gonna do things for the sake of the plot because it needs to be done, and you can write them enough backstory and justifications for why they do it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, we understand what we're doing. No spoilers at all, but there are like a reasonable amount of like fake deaths or like characters getting like killed off screen
Oh,
and only to
interesting.
come back. And it's like at the end, like after the fourth time, I was like, bro, I can see that. I know what you're doing. It happens to the same character. It's actually insane. Um, and so
That's
it's like
funny.
you have to suspend your disbelief to some extent. But I mean, it's a fucking sci-fi uprising tale. So it's definitely just know that's what you're getting into. It comes with the territory of this kind of series. Um, but I also read another book. So that was 6 books in
Jesus.
the
And then you wrote
course of
another
one
one?
month. Um, and that was the book I ended up picking for book club. That being Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir, who also wrote The Martian. And Project Hail
Okay.
Mary is getting adapted to a movie that I think is coming out in a couple months or so.
Oh, really?
The one with Ryan Gosling. So that'll
Oh
be
my
interesting. That's
God.
why I recommended it. It's also a sci-fi, um, and I heard great things about it. A lot of people really love this, and a lot of people obviously really like The Martian. Um, I was a little let down by this one. I'm not gonna lie. I still think
Really?
it's a good book. But when it comes to sci-fi and my favorite kinds of sci-fi, this one didn't really scratch the itch. Um, there's a ton of really interesting, palpable explanations of um, scientific concepts throughout this book that are kind of explained to you in such a way where it's like you're being taught. The protagonist um, is like in education, and so he's like ends up being very good at explaining concepts to the audience, which makes it fun to read and kind of uncover and feel like you're piecing together elements to this sci-fi world, and um, it's all grounded, so it feels like something that could take place in reality. So I've heard that's why a lot of people love it. Um, my problems with the book came with just a general lack of character development. It felt more like the plot was kind of propelling things forward as opposed to characters having their own like agency or any sort of depth to them. Um, the humor also really did not work for me. Um, it's interesting because I started this book reading it, and I, the humor was actually grating. It's written in such a way where it comes off like you're reading like a Marvel quippy kind of like contemporary, like super like
Mm.
tongue-in-cheek kind of humor, like oh he's right behind me, isn't he? Or oh we're doing this now, or stuff like that. Um, and
Oh hell no.
it was really pissing me off.
Yeah.
Um, but I ended up looking it up and like I heard great things about the audiobook. So I switched over and I immediately enjoyed it much more. The
Really.
delivery kind of uh, played the humor off in a much more dry, deadpan manner where it's not quippy. It's just, oh, it's matter of fact. Now I'm just like joking in the face of death. And that worked way better, I think, for the tone of the book. It's interesting if that's
Interesting.
just because of the narrator and the voice actor. If he just really crushed it, which I
Yeah.
mean he did. It's a great audiobook. I would recommend. But man, just could not get into the actual writing of this book. Um, it's such an interesting problem to have because the overall story, I enjoyed it when it was in audiobook form, um, to a certain extent. Um, there's definitely a lot to praise with this book, and I would recommend it to anyone who's like looking for an intro to sci-fi,
Hmm.
I've heard this book kind of be celebrated as one of the books that got people back into reading, and I understand if that is kind of the real appeal to this book is it has like a special sort of accessibility, and then also just widespread appeal to everyone. Um, it just personally wasn't 100% my cup of tea. Um, there's a lot of really interesting twists though, and the overall structure of the story is well worth your time. I'll be interested to see if uh, the movie turns out well. I've heard it's going to be a long one. I've heard it's supposed to be like 2 hours and 40 minutes. So that is going to be
Wait, how long?
interesting to say the least. I'm 2 hours and 40 minutes. So we'll
God
see if
dang.
it's justified. The book wasn't that long, so I guess we'll see. Um,
They're
if
making
anyone
stuff
could
up.
do it, it's Ryan
They're
Gosling,
padding out the runtime. It's
my
gonna be more
goat.
combat. No. No, yeah,
There's
that's
more
true.
gameplay in
That's,
my movie. What the hell?
bro, bro, movies are gonna become video games in the same way that video games are becoming movies.
That's all I have to talk about for books, at least.
No, yeah.
Um,
That's
on to the
also all I
YouTube
have to
section.
say about books.
Oh, really?
Well,
Oh,
I do want to read The Martian, or at least do the audiobook
mm-hmm.
at some point, and then
Yeah.
maybe check out this one, maybe as the side thing. But that would be if I'd, you know, had
If you read,
if I
yeah.
yeah if I did
If you could read.
that. um, I don't really have any YouTube things either. If we want to transition to
You
that
know what?
section.
I've got nothing. on my end. I
Damn, we don't like YouTube. We don't like music. We don't like gameplay. Well, I'll tell you
It
something
was
we do
it was
like.
a weak
Hmm?
January for
A
sure.
week January.
Um,
Damn.
mm,
I don't know. You read seven big ass books, right?
I guess yeah, it was because
Seven fat
that's the
books.
lowest common denominator.
Hey,
That's you got nothing else.
you stacked it all in one section rather than being
Hmm.
even. So it's got to be like that sometimes. You got to mix things up,
Yeah, exactly.
sort of, I guess. But anyways, I hope people enjoyed the us doing things differently. I guess sort of slightly, maybe not really. Um, and yeah, goodbye. Thank you.